Tuesday night and time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. Script Doctor is sadly under the weather, so
Oh
he's not going to be
no,
with us tonight. So yeah, he lost his voice.
no.
So he might pop up in the chat. Hopefully he's feeling better soon though. Get better soon, Script Doctor. At least may be able to participate by throwing in some comments in the chat from here to there. But we still have some people here. We have some people coming in. Joining me as always is my partner in crime, Mr. Mexican Iron Man. How you doing, sir?
Very good. I got here early. There are virtual rabbit chicken tacos in the back in the virtual lobby for everybody. My apologies for the Bambino hair. I didn't get a chance
It's
to
funny
vacuum.
you say that because I got a member chat from somebody named Mexican Iron Man
Uh-oh,
that says,
I'm busted.
welcome and thank you for coming tonight. While waiting, please enjoy your free rabbit chicken virtual tacos in our virtual buffet. 2 plate per person maximum. Then it's not really a buffet, is it, Mike?
Not really, sir.
I'm just saying. I mean, you can't be false advertising like that. I mean,
Well, I'm using buffet because it sounds like ooh, I'm gonna get all this stuff, and then I'm like, nah, no, you only get
that's what I'm saying. You can't tell people it's a buffet and then they only get 2 plates.
a lot like my love life. Over promise and under deliver.
True,
Wow.
true. And that other person with me to my left, I think on the screen, or be your left or my right, who knows? Valiant Renegade, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Good to be here. Good to see everybody. Unfortunately, hey, Script, he's out there. Good to see you, man. Hope you're feeling better.
I know you've got a limited time with us, but yeah, thank you for
I
showing
do.
up.
Unfortunately, yeah, I got to bounce right at 6:30, but I know we've got some good stories we can talk about quick, and I think the audience will enjoy this one because this one's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some Oscars coming up here, but before you leave, we stumbled across this story you and I wanted to talk about. Well, Mike too, of course, obviously. And we got, like I said, some other people are going to be coming in. I think Gary from Pop Culture Minefield is going to be hopping in here. A few other people have the link, so you never know who might come in.
Dun dun dun.
We have some Tuesday regulars who like to pop in from time to time, so we'll see. But saying hello to everybody in the chat, we got Goddess of Whim here. I see Donnie Pearson. I see KR Nutt. I see David Raposo, if I'm saying that right. Sorry. Dr. Coffin Nails is in the house. We already made him laugh. That's good. And as we pointed out, Script Doctor is here. How you doing, sir? Hopefully you're doing better than you sound from what it sounds like. Hopefully you're feeling okay and it's just something that's working its way out. I hope you're not feeling sick is my point. But if you're feeling ill, that is even worse because I hate when people feel sick, plus they can't talk on top of it. That really sucks because then you can't whine about how sick you are.
Nope.
So, then we got Spider Unlimited in the house. Sander Hammerslag is here. Marks 47 is here. Etienne Falidoro is here. We got Mecha J in the house. Welcome, everybody. I see Putin's cat. HVP is here. David Rayner. So many more. Glad to see so many regular faces. Dan Blackroyd, speaking of regular faces, thank you for being here. And we appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. Let everybody know that we're live. But yeah, before we lose Valiant here, this story come across. We got an idea of what Mission Impossible might have to do to be successful. Isn't that right, Valiant?
Oh,
I have an idea. Tom Cruise has to run really fast in about 5 or 6 scenes in the movie, and we get to watch him run.
Well, we already know that's going to happen. But
well,
Valiant,
yeah, slightly.
This is something that you like to cover quite a bit on your channel.
Yeah, I'm just about to start getting into the box office stuff because it's heating up again. And this one looks like it's going to need to have that same break even point in and around what we just got with the last James Bond film. This looks like it.
Did you think it might even be worse?
It might be worse. I mean, here's the thing. Let's talk about what's in the story so everybody can kind of understand.
Yes.
So this came out today, and I did not see this until just shortly before the show, and my jaw hit the floor. And holy cow. So the bottom line is that this film started shooting or was initially designated to start principal photography in February of 2020 in guess where? Northern Italy. That was the first place in Venice. And of course, that got kiboshed because the first day of principal photography happened to go inside with the date of the lockdowns.
Now let's take y'all back to do y'all remember when Tom Cruise flipped out 2 years ago? That was while making this movie.
Yep. And apparently, according to Variety, the production was suspended and delayed no less than 7 times, which has caused the budget to explode along with all the additional uh, medical safety protocols, let's say, that they had to employ during the production of this film. Now, what the article is stating is that Skydance, which is the production company, so for everybody watching, that's kind of like Legendary Pictures makes Dune and Godzilla versus Kong for Warner Brothers. Skydance is making these Mission Impossible movies for Paramount. Now, according to Variety, what they're saying is that Skydance hit their contractual limit of $240 million of invested budget for this film, which then forced Paramount to come up with the other $50 million on top of that for a grand total of $290 million. And that is before they have spent a dime on global marketing, a global P&A. This is just a travesty when it comes to financial movie problems. This is something.
Right. Well, in a couple months back when they pushed Top Gun 2, I posited the reason for that was because Mission Impossible 7 was going to get delayed and they needed to move it into its slot, which is exactly what happened.
Indeed.
And now you're looking at a situation here where, yeah, nobody knows how well Top Gun 2 is going to do. I think it's going to do okay. You want to know my honest opinion? I think it's going to do a little bit better than Ghostbusters Afterlife. Maybe.
What?
Maybe. Top Gun's not that big of a franchise, right? It doesn't have the fan following that even Ghostbusters has. It doesn't have that. I mean, don't get me wrong. What Top Gun will bring in is a bunch of the general audience because it's Tom Cruise. It's a second movie. It's not like they've had to follow a franchise for the last 30 years.
Top Gun is a quintessential pop culture icon movie.
I just don't see it making much more than $400 million at the box office.
Wow, I would have pegged it at least at 700 million.
Maybe you could be right, Mike. I mean, I'm being
I was going to go
I'm being more of a realist.
I was going to go because I was going to go 500 to 700 if things are opened up fully, something in that range. Well, anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. Valiant, keep going.
No. You're on point though, Mike. Because in a normal world, it probably would do that. Like if we were in a non-COVID world, I could see it. But that's what the thing is. We're in a COVID world. Tom Cruise is arguably probably one of the last of the true movie stars, but there's even been movies that, we've gotten into this debate before where I've even pointed out, he can't even sell a movie anymore. Now, granted, you got a totally different situation here. This is Top Gun. So you're right. This has some kind of thing going for it besides just being Tom Cruise. And of course, he's being, the star and the face of Top Gun, those two things being together. It's a win-win thing. And I know a lot of people have been wanting to see this movie. So you could be right, Mike. It might do much better than I'm thinking. I just don't see it hitting that $1 billion range. Right. But now Mission Impossible
not as of now.
is a newer franchise that has a much bigger fan base. We're at the 7th film now. These movies have been building and building and building since the 3rd one or whatever. So it has this pedigree built into it that I think it's plausible, because if you said to me a year ago, which one is going to make more, Mission Impossible 7 or James Bond No Time to Die? My answer would have been Mission Impossible 7. But I underestimated how well the last Bond was going to do. Big time. I'll admit that. But I think a lot of people did.
I did.
And I think once the word of mouth got out on it and certain things like that, we miss. I think we didn't really factor in that the general audience would have some kind of interest in something like that still.
I agree with you completely because I thought, as a hardcore James Bond fan, Tom, and you and I have talked about this many times, that you have not seen all the movies, and I love you and forgive you for that. It's okay. We're still brothers. But I was for sure thought that this was a James Bond film for James Bond fans. I had no idea anybody else would be going to this thing outside of the franchise followers like me. So I got that one way wrong. I guess we all did in the big picture, Yeah,
this is one of those things. It's you never know how it's going to pan out. But I mean, looking at Mission Impossible 7, we go back and we look at the last 2 entries into this franchise. They made about 700 million and then about 800 million on the most recent one, Fallout. Here's the problem. This movie has to beat soundly even that nearly 800 million haul just to sniff a break-even point once they put in the marketing budget. And this doesn't even take into account what almost assuredly on some of those assets, there's some interest costs. I mean, 290 million, they started shooting this 2 years ago. They're not paying that all out of pocket up front. I mean, it's not an unreasonable assumption at this point. They probably got to have at least 10 to 12 million in interest costs in there somewhere that's going to get factored in as
Well, you
well.
and I were talking about it before the show, and I think we came up with a pretty well. Like we figured they're encroaching in that $400 million range for the budget. I think is what you and I kind of figured, right? Or what would
Well, at
you say?
least 290 plus that 10, I'd put it at 3. If you
Okay,
slap in,
so
I mean, at bare
well, we were
freaking minimum.
figuring. Well, we were talking about with advertising and everything.
You're
Though,
right,
too, so.
right. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, if you throw in a bare minimum of 100 million, and that would be really shy of global P&A, print and advertising, marketing. Yeah, then you're at 400,
So
but I
we're
think it's gonna be more
talking
than that.
basically Avengers Endgame, which is what I said. Like, and again, I think you're on point that this movie has to do at least as well as No Time to Die to be even just remotely in the black, right? Like and we're not talking
Yeah.
profitable. We're talking about in the black. Because like
Just
they can
yeah.
argue all day and long that Bond made money. Yeah, it did. But I'd argue that they're not very much in the black because there's too many different players involved in that. And you have a similar situation here with Skydance and Paramount and
Oh,
all
and
that
Tom
kind of
Cruise.
business.
I mean, those
Well,
back end
isn't
deals, a lot of
Skydance
people
Tom Cruise's company? Or am I
well,
wrong?
yes, but I think okay. Usually it depends on how they have it contracted, I would assume. I mean, because Tom Cruise's company is doing it, Tom Cruise is in it as an actor. There's probably 2 different entities getting paid there. There's Tom Cruise LLC, the actor, and then
And
there's
don't forget,
Tom.
and don't forget, he owns the franchise as well.
Right. So that's what I'm
No, I'm
saying. Is
wrong. That's David Ellison who owns that. So that means you're right.
yes,
There is a
there's
whole nother
back end
company.
deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what is Tom Cruise's company though? Then,
Hold on, I'll tell you right now.
yeah.
His
What's his
production
main?
company?
Because that's what I
I'm
thought
on it.
his production company was.
On it.
It was formed for him, but that's not the one. See, it looks like Cruise Wagner Productions is his production.
Cruz Wagner.
Yep, I got it here.
Okay.
Yep, thank you, Mike.
Cruz Wagner,
Yep.
100%.
So it's kind of a tangential kind of thing. They kind of work together. It looks like because like almost every Tom Cruise movie is made, Skydance has been like close to. It looks like.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
mean,
they
that's
work
how
with
they
Bad
usually work in the
Robot. They
same
work with
realm.
other companies too. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he has worked with JJ.
Yep.
Our
Then-
boy.
Yeah. So this is going to
Yeah.
be, and this one is slated to come out. I know they moved it. Now, is this the May slot that's coming out?
Not this year. This year is it's Top Gun. They push this clear to the. I don't know. I don't know if they've announced a date for this yet. Does it say in the article here?
No, I thought.
Well,
I
while
thought
you're
they
looking,
pushed- Okay, yeah. Let me look it up.
I'm gonna say because I'm pretty sure they put Top Gun in the spot that this originally was going to have. That's why they pushed Top Gun back. They had no reason to push it outside of just that theaters weren't open, and that was the other thing is they didn't have a spot.
Well, I think that if anything, that show. I mean, I pushing it back.
Oh yeah, it
makes
is
sense.
2023. I had it backwards. I was thinking they were pushing this first and then Top Gun later.
Nope. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Is this was going to get delayed? I knew it was going to get delayed
I had it
the moment
backwards.
they moved Top Gun, and then, like I said, later on that same, maybe it was even in the same day or two within, they
July
announced
14th,
that yeah,
23.
Mission Impossible was getting pushed, and that's why because everybody's like, oh, what's going
Wait
to
a
happen?
minute. When is Top Gun coming out then?
Not till like this summer.
Okay.
Because it's
Yeah,
been
July-
done for
July
over 2
14th.
years now.
That's what I thought. Like I thought it was coming out in September.
But
October.
like Ghostbusters,
And then I thought it was
Paramount,
coming.
yeah, Paramount has no reason to push this movie out right away. They're better off holding off on Top Gun until theaters are open. And then once the spot opened up, they knew because that's the spot that Mission Impossible was going to take. Once they knew that this was going to get delayed, they pushed Top Gun into that spot because then they're banking and hoping that theaters will be open by then. I mean, they kind of already are, but you know what I mean, like fully capacity.
I mean, there's two dynamics: theaters opening and things not being released day and date is the formula.
That's the other
for
thing. Well, this
success.
is not going to get a day and date thing. Paramount's been pretty
No.
good about that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, but I'm just saying it's more. That clearly was a doomed idea from the beginning. And I think, guess what? Thank God James Bond never had that opportunity either, because then it would
It came
definitely
close.
I know it
fucking
came close, right? I mean, didn't you guys report on that?
Yes, there was two instances where it was going to go to HBO Max for a little bit, and then it looked like Amazon was trying to get it worked into their deal with MGM, but they couldn't because I believe it was either Apple or somebody else swooped in and bought the 45-day streaming rights. So it is dropping on a streamer. I think it already is on a streamer. I can't remember which one. Is it on Apple or something like that? I think somebody
went
let
to
me know in the chat.
PVOD, but I don't think it
No,
went.
I think it hit. I can't remember who they got a streaming deal with. Or we're coming up on the 45 days here soon.
Yeah.
Hunch the Dirty Roofer says, you forgot with Top Gun, the Navy went all out with their support and access. It's going to be on every base worldwide for months, and that's where it'll make its money. Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to underestimate Top Gun, but I just don't want to overestimate it. Kind of like I did with Ghostbusters. And that's what I'm kind of looking at it as. Because Top Gun was the biggest movie of 1986, but it didn't have a shit ton of competition.
Man, if Ghostbusters had the PR campaign and marketing campaign that it truly deserved, then I
agree. And I think
would have done way better. And if it had opened just a little bit later, I think it would have done even better.
I agree with you, Mike. I think that there was more theaters open for Spider-Man, and I think that's going to benefit Top Gun in the long run. I do feel like Top Gun's going to do much better. I feel like it's going to at least make 500 million. But whether it does over that is going to be questionable. Shit, and I wouldn't be surprised if it settles in that $300-400 million.
From what Valiant's saying with the numbers, if this thing doesn't clear 800 and
that's for Mission Impossible, though.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mission Impossible. So what I'm trying to suggest is that if he doesn't hit he's got to hit numbers on both these movies back to back, or we're gonna have two movies that maybe earn a lot of gross revenue but don't have any net profitability.
Basically,
yeah. Yes. I don't think we know what the production budget is for Maverick yet.
For Maverick, I don't think it's so bad. But we have Gary from Pop Culture Minefield as promised. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing okay, buddy.
Or as I say, it's Gary with a J. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. We're just talking about Mission Impossible and a little Top Gun.
I was listening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It was, because I've been curious what was happening with this, and this goes along the lines of what we, 24/7 Media, Fusion Media, Sil Abdul, Keith, and I were talking about that. If you want to turn a profit on a film, unless you know you have that kind of audience, you should keep your budgets well under $100,000, especially at this time as we see this shift.
100 million
in the paradigm. Yeah, 100 million.
You said 100,000.
Oh, 100 million. I'm sorry. So basically, you've got a better chance the lower your budget is. And, and a lot of the deals get made this way where the actor, instead of taking a large paycheck, gets a percentage of the overall ticket sales, box office. And this is where, they can actually have a greater chance of turning a profit.
I think it's all and like we were talking about, the first measure of this is going to be what happens with Maverick here in May. That's I just looked it up when it's coming out, and that's why I was thinking it was Mission Impossible. I just got them backwards, but yeah, May for Top Gun, Maverick. But again, the Top Gun I don't think probably had the issue with Mission Impossible. One of the things that made it so expensive was, first of all, just like the James Bond films, this is a spy thriller movie that takes place all over the globe, right? So that means a buttload of different productions on location all over the place. They went to, Italy, and then I moved the web page, but I mean, they probably had 5-6 different on locations or on location areas.
And I think we kind of figured this is the most expensive one yet. I mean, like I said, we're talking budget levels of Endgame here, right? And I'm looking at the last two Mission Impossible movies. Now, it is in the realm of possibility that this movie could be profitable, but that's going to completely rest on whether or not theaters are 100% open and this movie has good word of mouth, because the fifth one did around 700 million, and then the sixth one did 811 million. So there is room for growth here, right? It is a known, and like I said, this is a known property. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but this movie has to fire on all fucking cylinders to be able to make, because it's got to make that $1 billion mark, basically.
Yeah, and that's just to basically cover the cost. That's not what's really making any money, like you said. If they're going to make a profit on this, at this point, it's almost a sure thing to say that they're going to have to make it on the back end in the secondary and tertiary markets, and that basically means selling physical media, licensing it out to other players, or going to PVOD, and maybe Paramount will do that on Paramount Plus initially, to where it's like, You can rent it for $19.99. Look, that's what other studios. We just saw that with Sing 2. They had a gig with theaters to where I have to go back and find where I read this, but I think it was in Variety or Deadline or something. If Sing 2 didn't break 50 million in its opening weekend, they got to put it on PVOD after like 21 days or something like that, which is why Sing 2 went to PVOD very quickly.
Gotcha.
The neat thing is Sing 2 had such a good draw that it continued to make money in the theaters pretty well even after that. And then we don't know what it made on PVOD. They might wind up doing something similar to this, although I doubt Paramount's going to drop it into PVOD that quickly. But we saw that with Bond. After like a month, it was on PVOD, right? Or almost a month.
Yeah. Well, that's where I said that was the smart move, and I think that's where they finally got themselves into a profit there. And I thought I read a story that was saying something to that effect. Yeah. And I know you got to leave here in a few minutes, Valiant, but Spider Unlimited sends in a super chat and says, let's not forget that MI7 and MI8 are one story arcs, so that will help sell as well, as since a lot is being shot together. I didn't know this. I don't think it even says that in the story.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of this. What's this?
I haven't either.
Well, here, it's funny that Spider throws that out, because I was about to ask this question, which is that after the last Mission Impossible, where in the hell is there to go? I mean,
a 7 and 8th movie.
Well,
unless he means, I mean,
look,
I know.
I love.
I mean, if they're actually shooting 1.5 movies during this, that changes the whole dynamic of the production budget.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And that's where we've been saying a lot of these bigger movies, it's almost like sometimes they should be doing this. And this was the big.
Well, you talked about that about Dune. You and
I was just going to say, getting to Dune,
right?
Like, why the fuck in the world, even if you don't know if this is going to be a hit, you still should have just amortized the cost of this whole thing, made 3 movies out of it, just like, Robert Shea did with Lord of the Rings, because he's like, he pre-sold the theatrical rights in other countries. So that's how he had the budget to make the 3 movies at once. And everybody in the company's panicking because they're like, you're going to bury the company. You're going to bury the company. He's like, are you fucking insane? He's like, it's already paid for. So even if the first movie flops, we'll make more than enough money selling the straight to video and straight to cable rights of the sequels, because they're already fucking done. So like, he's like, there's no way we're going to lose any money on this. And instead it was the biggest gamble in history. And he made a fortune for the company, should I say, because there was a lot of people who had to sue afterwards to get their money. But yeah, I mean, it's just, that was when Warner Brothers also took over. So that's to be clear. Yeah. Robert, I don't think had much to do with people not getting paid. I just want to be clear on that. But anyway, Valiant, you got to go soon. So I'm going to let you have
I was going to say this real quickly. I did find something that may have something to do with the statement about concurrent filming. This is an article from Variety back on January 21st, just a few weeks ago. Paramount Pictures will delay the release of the next 2 films in the MI series. Now will debut July 14th, 2023. That's the one we're talking about. And MI8, intended to open July 7th, 2023, will now shift to June 28th, 2024.
So they're trying to shoot these back to back is what it looks like.
Yeah, because otherwise there's no way that they would get these films out a year apart. So it is possible that they did.
Yeah, that's basically what Spider just emailed or super chatted in here. He said 7 and 8 were announced together. They were going to roll over shooting after 7 was done and be released within a year of each other, first for MI. Yeah, and then he just found this article, and you might have just sent this Spider Unlimited just before because of the delay. But yep, you sound correct in that matter, and that makes a little more sense in what I was saying.
Because now we got to split the budget. The overall budget is split in half. If it's
I don't know if that's the case, because I think that's what Valiant is saying here with this article, is they're just going to move into another. It's like,
so if it's 350 mil, well, so Mission Impossible Fallout was at 178 and it grossed 788 worldwide.
I don't know if they're doing the same budget for the same movie, is what I'm saying. Like,
I think there's still more to shoot. I think, like I said, I don't think they did everything together at the same time. Like, they shot principal photography entirely for both films. It seems like they shot some of it. For example, if they knew that they had to reuse the same location for the next film,
I'm under the impression they're still filming, so maybe they are filming 8 now instead, right? Because I thought
that's
they were
what I'm
still
saying is they're
this.
filming the other stuff that they didn't already film, I guess. So they split it up, but not entirely. So anyway, I don't
know, but we don't know for sure. But yes, thank you, Valiant, for being here. And if we hear any more, we will get into this, and I'm sure you'll have more to add to this as time goes by as well. Check out Valiant Renegade's channel. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
See you, buddy.
So yeah, but I hate to go from interesting discussion like that
Oh,
to some sad news.
no.
Actually, we learned of a passing of a very very huge name
Oh man,
in visual effects, Douglas Trumbull.
Holy shit! When did this happen?
This just
today.
happened today. Yeah, 79. Most well known for, of course, for his visual effects on 2001, Blade Runner, Close Encounters. Uh, a pioneer in the industry, worked in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, tons of stuff.
Well, of course, I'm the founder of the Blade Runner fan club, and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know him for that.
So yeah,
Because
actually, I mean, I hate saying it. I'm glad you're here, Gary, but not for this reason. But yeah, please give us a little insight on how important Douglas
I'm
was to you.
devastated by this, because Keith knows I've been trying to get an interview with him for a while, because I got to interview Sid Mead and so many people from Blade Runner, and he was the elusive one. And now my shot at talking to him is gone. And his visual effects in that film stand to today. You can sit and watch that. Even the guys over at Corridor Crew are still in awe of that movie and what they pulled off in camera. Doug Trumbull is a true genius, and he got his start, all the way back to 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I was just going to say, even if you take all the stuff he did after out of the equation, just the fact that he worked on 2001, which I know we talk a lot about Star Wars as special effects. The only reason Star Wars special effects look as good as they are is because George Lucas said, I don't think I'll look as good as 2001, or nobody's going to believe him. And this is why. Because Douglas Trumbull was the first guy to make spaceships and outer space look real.
Right.
And he's the guy he started lens flares.
And,
exactly, yeah.
Well, and what he did on Close Encounters, by the way, let's not forget about that. So what he did with
tons of stuff there.
Close Encounters, what was really innovative, and Close Encounters still holds up, is the fact of the matter that he was able to really merge a sci-fi environment with like Earth sci-fi, and it all felt real. It felt you had that granularity. It just wow. This is a man.
Well, here's a story I remember from Close Encounters. I think it was Douglas who did this. Pretty sure from my memory of the documentary. The bit where the mothership comes down and the clouds form. The way they form, they just kind of...
Yeah, they used a pneumatic tank to do that.
I was just going to say, what happened was, because Spielberg's like, well, we need to be able to do this. He wanted the shape of the clouds to come out a certain way. So he's like, what are we going to do? We're going to do it in reverse with smoke. But they tried, like with smoke, you can't control it. And Douglas is like, I know how to do this. And all he did was just inject paint into a fish tank.
They had large steel syringes that injected it into the water, and the camera was shot from below.
Yeah.
So it created that undulation that you see.
And wasn't there oil, like a level of oil or something like that? And that's where the paint would stop. So that's where they got the perfect skyline thing or something like that.
I think there was. I'm not totally sure on that. But
either way, it was just old school techniques that he would use now, and you'd see something you'd never seen before. And you're right, because like Close Encounters,
they shoot it at high speed and play it back, and it was slow and undulating, and it looked natural, and they used it in Raiders too.
Yep.
Even though he wasn't involved with Raiders, it was his creation that was used in Raiders for that final scene.
Yeah, Dykstra is somebody I believe who was like, I don't know if he was one of his students, but he definitely took a lot of his teachings, I guess you'd say. No, but this guy was a pioneer prior to CGI. I mean, arguably one of the best.
Did you guys see Brainstorm?
I don't know. Did I see Brainstorm or not?
That was Christopher Walken and Natalie Wood, and she died during the production, so it altered the ending of the film.
See, yeah, I know
where his visual effects in that were mind-boggling. He had done stuff that nobody had ever done before, and just blew the mind. Yeah, there we go.
Cloud tank plates from Close Encounters. The cloud tank was literally a glass tank that, when liquid or ink was properly injected, would provide suitable swirling cloud-like imagery that would be composited into the final scene.
Yeah, and then what it would do is at that top there, you would get that. That's what it was. It was because it was at the top. So then they would flip it around. So then that top would create that perfect horizon.
Exactly.
Line. Yeah. It's just like almost all the effects for the ships were shot upside down too, and then flipped over. which is weird, but that's how they did it. And that's all Trumbull.
And
Like he
here's some
figured
more
all that
Blade
shit.
Runner trivia for you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
The mothership, the big round bottom of the ship, was used as part of the police headquarters.
Yes.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, he would reuse. Well, there's a lot of stuff that's in all of those movies that is kind of crossed.
Yeah, there's actually a giant Millennium Falcon model, 6-foot model.
There's an R2D2 on the bottom of the other ship too.
Yeah. Oh, R2 and other things. There were other little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, I'd love to get a high resolution image.
You can see B-17s. You can actually see B-17 sticking out of the mothership around the ring.
So yeah, he will be missed. Sad day for movies.
Yes, it is.
And especially, like I said, I didn't even know this happened until after you were already invited, Gary. But I'm glad you're here because you are so attached to Blade Runner that this guy is a big deal in Blade Runner. I mean, those effects still hold up. They're amazing. I mean,
Blade Runner. Like I said, if you guys watch Quarter Crew, which I do religiously, I love their shows of breaking down how to do effects in film. And they talked about Trumbull just the other day about the effects from Blade Runner and how they stand up to today. They look so good. It's hard to see matte lines because he was that good.
Well, I know it breaks your heart because I respect Blade Runner for its place in cinematic history, but I'm not as big of a fan of the film itself. But there's times I got the 4K edition where I'll just throw it in and I'll just watch like those opening shots of the city and stuff because it just looks so amazing in 4K. Like they still hold up to this day. Like I just love the atmosphere of it and how
people are shocked when they find out that those were thin sheets of brass that were cut into shapes. Yeah. And the effects guy went in and manually put fiber optics into everything.
Right here.
All those lights. The same thing with this. Now, the tragic part of this part, Trumbull, was that when they left overnight, it caught fire and burned down. So they were stuck with only certain shots of the building.
Oh, man. Yeah, and I'm with you, Goddess. I'll go with practical any day. And miniatures, bigatures, all that stuff looks so much better, so much more real.
Look.
Yeah. Look at the detail.
And it's hard to nerd out over CG like you can nerd out over shit like this.
No, because you know how it's done. It's done by 12 guys sitting in an office, plucking in at a computer for hours. It's like I admire the amount of hours that goes into that work, but the craftsmanship that goes into something like this, it's just so much more impressive to me. And it's like, I mean, I was generous enough to get gifted like guy Gary from who I do with on the show with Gary Ambrosio, who we hang out with on with Dune
Pop Culture Breakdown.
Yeah, and I plan on bringing him on sooner or later. He sent me a big plate of the mold of the Gozer.
Oh, did he?
Oh, cool.
Did he really?
Yeah. It's amazing looking. I'll have to pull it out here and show you guys one of these. Wow. When he's on the show, I'll show you. He also sent me an awesome little plaque that had Jaws' teeth on it from one of the Universal Jaws.
Really cool. Just look at this. Isn't this amazing?
And that's my point is like with CGI, you can't have that, right? You can't have that to hold and look at it, and it's not the same, right?
It's sort of like comic books, all of us read digital comic books, but the fact is there's nothing quite there. Was it Stan Lee that said this? It's like a set of boobs. There's just nothing like holding them in your hand.
And we're at Midnight Edge After Dark.
Oh, we are. Well, yeah.
Well, I said boobs.
Well, for those who don't think he'd say something like that, well, go look out his favorite word. It's a little YouTube video where he discusses how versatile the word "fuck" is.
Oh,
it's amazing. But yeah, Douglas will be missed. There's just not many like him anymore, sadly.
And he was kind of an introvert, that's why we had so much trouble trying to get a hold of him. Sid Mead, man, I called his office and he answered the phone. And it's the same thing with Drew Struzan. When I first met him back in the 90s, when I first called him, I called his studio, figured I'd get some secretary. I was like, hello. And I'm like, yes, this is Gary Excel from bladezone.com. I'd like to talk to Drew Struzan. This is he. I'm like, oh shit. You never expect them to answer their own damn phones.
Yeah, I love that documentary about him too. And well, I don't know if it was just about him. I'm trying to remember, but
Eric Sharkey's movie. Yeah, I'm friends with Eric. Good guy.
Yeah.
I love that documentary.
But anyway, moving on to the main topic of the day. This is why I'm sad that Script isn't able to join us, because this is when I was waiting to get his opinions on. Oscar nominations have come out. Not that we really give a shit too much about that, but a certain somebody was snubbed, even though Dune got nominated for 10 Oscars.
All right.
Denny didn't get nominated, though.
No.
Whoa. You know what? That pisses me off more than anything when you see a film get nominated for Best Picture and then the director gets snubbed. That's fucking wrong.
Well, we've seen this before, haven't we? With Scorsese,
Spielberg. The Oscars are fucking dumb.
How many years until Scorsese finally won one and Spielberg? We know Spielberg did for Schindler's List. I'm trying to remember the first one Scorsese finally got it for.
Who the hell did get nominated for Best Director of what movie?
Well, let's find out. That's a good question, Mike.
Should I find out? Do you want me to grab it?
Well, if you got something that's a little easier to read than this, please. Because this has got some. This has the list right here. Our Best Picture nods go to
Best Director's right below.
I can barely read it.
Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
The Power of the Dog?
Indeed.
Was that a good movie?
I don't know. Must have been for the Academy anyway.
Wait, I haven't even heard of half of these things. Wait, what?
Of course, that's typical Academy Awards. Best Director, Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryusuke, I'm going to say this wrong, Hamaguchi for Drive My Car.
Was that any good?
It was okay. I didn't like it that much. Yeah, I've seen it.
Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story.
Oh, what?
I can't believe Steven got nominated, but Denny didn't get nominated. That's weird.
Oh, don't get me started on Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either.
I like him, but he's just not what he used to be. But anyway, this whole West Side Story thing was a big, dumb idea. Best lead actor is Javier Bardem, Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Will Smith, and Denzel Washington. Is this Will Smith's first time being nominated? Or no, he got that's right. Never mind. He got it for Ali. Never mind.
Ali, that's right.
Yeah. Way back when. Best lead actress, Jessica Chastain, Olivia Colman, Penelope Cruz, Nicole Kidman, Kristen Stewart, aka the typical list of actresses. But you know who's not on that list? Surprisingly, Miss what's her face who's in the Netflix movie, who's always nominated, Meryl Streep. She's not on that list. Interesting.
God, haven't we had enough of her yet?
She played Trump in that movie. Don't Look Up.
I didn't see that either.
I didn't either, but Andre saw it and he fucking hated it.
A friend of mine saw it.
Yeah, it did not look interesting at all.
It pissed him off, he said.
Really? A friend of mine saw it and said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen. He's not even a political guy. He just said it sucked.
Well, from what I heard, and I have not seen this, so please don't quote me on this necessarily, but from what I've heard and what I gathered from what other people have said is that basically the movie has the right idea, but about the wrong people. Like if the movie was actually talking about woke culture, it might be dead on.
Agreed.
But instead, it's a reversal on that, and it's trying to,
they got the wrong political group. Gotcha.
It has the right sarcasm about the wrong people.
Basically, yes.
So it'd be like saying Mexicans don't eat tacos, but they really do. I don't know. I'm just trying to understand this.
Sort of, kind of.
Sort of, yeah. That kind of works.
I'm but a simple man from. I'm a simple man from South Carolina. I'm just trying to understand your fancy Hollywood ways and how you folks do things, so I don't get the vapors.
I don't get the vapors.
This side sends in $5. Thank you so much. Says the Academy put up a Netflix film in the best animated film. Well, we're going to get to that. Hunch the Dirty Roofer says, bigger question, have any of you looked The Power of the Dog, a Brokeback Mountain period piece where the age of one of them is young? Just saying. No, I have not.
Oh, what?
First I've heard about the movie. It was today. And that's a big problem with the Oscars usually.
Hollywood's love affair with pedophilia is just ridiculous.
Well, they want to try and normalize. Well, not everybody, but some of them want to try and normalize it.
Well, they did that with that movie, Call Me by Your Name.
Never saw that either.
And I know technically it's not pedophilia; it's a fetophilia because they're post-pubescent, and I do know that the distinction between the two, but it's still
yeah, in the same vein of.
Wait, what?
Why?
Just wait. I got my first boner at 12. I don't
Armor
think I was
Hammy.
ready for action at that point, though.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, yeah, all of us. I mean, that's our goal from puberty on is trying to, get action.
But that's a different story altogether. Best supporting actor, we got Syrian Hins, if I'm saying that right, probably not. Troy,
I call it.
Troy Kotzer, Jesse Plemons, J.K. Simmons, and Cody Smith.
I got to tell you, J.K. Simmons was the knockout role in being the Ricardos.
Well, he's good in everything. But yeah, I know Paulie really loved that. I still have yet to check that out.
I love that movie.
I've heard
you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't got a chance to either. Yeah.
Oh, look. So I wasn't gonna watch it, and Paulie told me to check it out, and I ended up watching it. My whole family loved it. I mean, we saw it twice actually. Like I saw it with one.
It's a great film, but my problem is the casting. She's too old. Cool. Both of them are too old.
Oh, come on!
They're younger. Oh, they're a lot younger.
Oh, come on!
No, she looked like she's had about $500,000 worth of constructive surgery on her face. Harvey was just 15 to 20 years too old for the character because he was like just coming out of his 20s when that shit was going on.
That was one thing I did bring up, but I mean, Paulie loved it. I've heard so many people.
It's a great fucking film. It's great. It is a wonderful fucking movie. I
want to check it out. Yeah, I want to check it out. I'll see how I feel about it. I should have watched it sooner, but we'll see here. I'm going to try and check it out within the next week or two here. It's one that's high on my list. I know that. So,
and, they left out one thing that bothered me.
What's that?
He always said that he only would sleep with hookers because he didn't want to have a relationship or cheat because he considered sleeping with hookers not cheating. That was really how he thought. In his brain, prostitutes were not tantamount to cheating on Lucille Ball. And she saw it a completely different way. And it's sad because they were a great relationship. He was
and like Beetlejuice, you mentioned his name. Guess who shows up? Paulie.
Desi Arnaz was in his 30s, and Lucy, at the time of that story, was in her 40s because she was older than Desi.
Latino Slant calls fact check.
We got a Latino fact check here going on. So
I don't know. It's white guy versus brown guy. Ready, fight.
Well, I did send Paulie the link if he wants to copy.
Vanilla wafer versus saltine. Ready, fight.
But while we're waiting for him to see if he does show up, let's go through the best adapted screenplays. We got Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. Best original screenplays, we got Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World. Best cinematography, we got Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Best animated feature film, as brought up before in a super chat, we got Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Interesting. Best animated short film, we got Affairs of the Heart, Bestia, Box Ballot, Robin, and the Windshield Wiper. Best costume, we got Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, West Side Story. Best score, we got Don't Look Up. Dune did not have a score. It had noise. Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog. And then we just get to a lot of the other ones. We got Best Sound. We got Best Original Song, Be Alive from King Richard. Dos Oru. How do you say that, Mike?
Which one, Encanto?
Dos Orugutas.
I guess. I can't even read it. It's too small on my screen.
How is it that small?
I don't know. I can't.
I made it really, really big.
Okay, there we go. Where were we?
Now I got to go way down here. Okay, here we go. Dos
Oruitas.
Oruitas. Okay.
Oru. Here, I'm going to teach you how to do this right now. Oru.
Oru.
Wheat. They like wheat. Like wheat.
Hui.
Us.
Tas.
Stop.
That's what I
perfect.
said.
Oh my God, you're bilingual. Tom Connor speaks Spanish.
Not really.
All right, here you go. Hold on a second. He was born in 1917. He was 34 years old at the first season of I Love Lucy.
And how many years did it go?
I don't know, but Latino Slant's having a heart attack. Look, me and Paulie are still heated up over Miranda not getting the thing. Me and Paulie, like before the show, he and I had a.
He can come in.
Well, I got to be honest, man.
He and I had a freaking meltdown off screen earlier today.
Javier Bardem should have also been nominated for the being the Ricardos. He deserved it. He was really freaking good in that movie.
Matt.
And then we've got thank you for being a member, Matt Vader. Then we got Down to Joy from Belfast and No Time to Die from No Time to Die. Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days. We got a documentary short, Nobody Cares, film editing, Don't Look Up, Dune, King Richard, Power of the Dog, Tick Tick Boom, biggest international field, best makeup. We got Coming to America for some reason, Cruella, Dune, Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. We got production design and all the stuff that nobody really cares about. Visual effects, we got Dune, we got Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man, the one that Spider-Man got a.
I just thought a reason why Steven Spielberg should not win Best Director.
Other than what?
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if he's such a good freaking director, how come he didn't remember to tell them to put the subtitles in for the white people when the Spanish was being spoken?
He did that on purpose.
So he can't be that great of a director because then he has a thing in the audience where they don't know what's going on. That can't be great.
He thought he was being progressive, Mike.
Yeah.
Hashtag I call BS. Hashtag.
Goddess of Whim is in the house. How you doing, Goddess of Whim? Sends in $10. Says the Oscars have gone back to ignoring the moneymakers and nominating the artsy crap nobody saw. Hollywood will never acknowledge the movies that actually made money, not the ones that push the message. Well, and that's the thing. And of course, it used to be a little bit more up until the Weinsteins. That was when things changed. And I call it English Patient Zero. That's when the Oscars changed. Instead of just about everything getting nominated and having a chance, it became all about that. Because prior to that, you even had like Sigourney Weaver get nominated for Aliens, right? Stuff like that would never happen today. That's when things changed, and then they tried to make it better again by adding more movies to the Best Picture nominations. And to me, that was just like, for what? Because none of these movies you're nominating are even going to have a chance to win. So it's really stupid. But anyway, thank you for that, Goddess of Whim. No Last Night in Soho. Yeah, nothing there either. Not even, I don't think even got production design or nothing. Yeah, popular movies don't usually get any nods.
And Paulie, just to let you know, I didn't say he was in his 20s. I said he was coming out of his 20s, meaning his 30s. And he was in his 30s.
Okay, you two need to go shoot it out on Pop Culture.
He can come in here and argue about it if he wants to.
It's not. His birthday is 1917. How many years between 1970 and 1951 when they
Lucy,
I don't know, but what I do know is that Matt Vader 74 needs a minimum effort puppy.
That minimum effort puppy. Let's see here. Minimum? All right.
Matt Vader, welcome to Minimum Effort Puppy. Bambino, come here, learn some shit. Where are you?
6 has spoken, no arguing. So there you go. All right. The other thing we had to talk about, how excited are you for the Batman movie, Gary?
Well, look, I'm mixed on it because I really want to see it, but I'm not happy about the costume still. It's like the armor thing. It's been done to death. It's like, come on, man. I like Ben Affleck's costume because we finally had a costume. It's like this whole, we've been doing body armor since 89.
Right.
Some kind of putty.
Some kind of putty. So, but I am looking forward to seeing it, to see what's going to happen. We're getting rumors that from people who've seen it, that it's controversial is one thing they said, divisive. That's
on that note,
Here's what I don't understand. Well, okay, go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was just going to say, according to Variety, the opening is jarring and feels unlike any other Batman movie. So that kind of jives with what you're saying, Gary. But what were you going to say, Mike?
Well, okay. As a Batman is my absolute total lifetime. Even though my name's Mexican Iron Man, I am much more and always have been a Batman fan. It's the comic book I bought the most. I collected the most. I had the most number of issues. It was the one where any title that was released at my local comic book store, it was in my bag, which actually wasn't a bag. It was actually a box because I bought that many comic books back in the day. And the thing about Batman is that I can appreciate a variety of iterations of different Batmans depending on what angle we go with. Now, there are comic books where you're going to open it up and it is a jarring and feels like anything. I mean, Gary, why don't you, let's talk about what happened in the 90s, 80s, 90s, with Batman. I mean, there's
the nipples.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, there's a variety of Batmans that I mean, Detective Comics is one thing, Frank Miller. I mean, you have different styles that come, that have come and gone. Alan Moore, when we talk about comics, there's different styles of comics that once we left the 70s and 80s, we went into, kind of Brave New World kind of stuff. And, so to me, there's lots of different character depictions that, that we might be able to enjoy. The challenge and the problem with that, as we learned in the Snyderverse, is that, look, I know exactly why we got the Batmans and the Supermans we did vis-a-vis Warner, but also from a storytelling standpoint, I know where those stories came from in the Snyder world. And I also know why, let's face facts, those comic books at the time that told those stories also weren't very popular and were incredibly controversial in the comic book world amongst DC fans when they came out. Okay? So while those comic books got a whole lot of new fans, like, when we went there, the fact of the matter is that there were a whole lot of people that were pissed off. So I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know if we're going to like what we're going to get. I don't know what the impact is of what we're going to get, but we're
going to get kind of a repeat of what Chris Nolan did. This is, a Batman on his own. This isn't in the universe with other superheroes. And it really does. It really kind of chimes in as kind of an echo of Chris Nolan, that gritty realism. I like the brutality in it. I like it a lot. I'm one of those people that goes for that kind of character.
Me too.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what he did here, and I'm hoping that he didn't fuck up in a way that will piss us off.
Well, what would be the things that would have to happen for you to get pissed? Well, okay, let me take a step back. What did you think? Are you a Snyderverse fan or not?
I am, because I'm with Mikey Sutton and I talk about it privately a lot. And Mikey Sutton and I actually see eye to eye on this, is that I see the Snyderverse as the lesser of two evils. I would prefer the Snyderverse, no question. Am I a big fan of the Snyderverse? I'm not a big fan, but I am a fan, and I enjoy it. I love Zack Snyder. I love his films. But I think that he got one thing wrong. He doesn't understand Superman.
Right.
And that was my big pet peeve with him, is that he kept representing Superman incorrectly. Because
that really that throws everything off in a lot of ways.
It really does.
Yeah. See, for me as a Snyder guy, I basically have to swallow what he did as Superman and kind of like focus on how good the Batman and the Wonder Woman were.
Because he did Batman correctly. Batman is spot on. I love his Batman, brutal. And he's driven. Superman, on the other hand, I just forgot his name, the director of Superman, the motion picture, and the Lethal Weapon films. But he said it best, that the only way to do Superman correctly is he has to be a Boy Scout. You lose the character if he's not a Boy Scout.
And an eternal optimist Boy Scout.
That's really what he meant. Is you got to be up. He has to be an optimist. He has to be.
He's got to have the purity of heart of a Cub Scout and the diligence. He's got to have the purity of heart of joy of the human condition, like a Cub Scout, and he's got to have that innocence, and he's got to have the deliberate focus of the Eagle Scout, and where anything outside the rules is just not acceptable.
Exactly. And as much as I don't agree with Richard Donner's personal politics, I love every film he ever put out. I love that guy. Great director, and nobody understood Superman like him. Nobody.
I still think to this day, my favorite score of all time is that opening. Dun, 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 dun. I get chills when I listen to it. Sometimes when sometimes when I'm really down, like if I have a really crappy day at the office, I'll just play that. You know.
Well, look, John Williams' marches are some of the best marches you'll ever hear. Danny Elfman, when he does a march, it's too obvious it's a march. John Williams, on the other hand, is very organic. You know, the Raiders theme, Star Wars, in fact, multiple Star Wars themes from Empire, you know, Vader's theme, and then Superman by itself is one of the single greatest soundtracks in the history.
Oh, it's my favorite score ever. And somebody who has a thing or two to probably say about that is somebody who knows probably more about comics than just about anybody I know.
Okay, I'm going to guess who it is.
Clobber time.
Hey there. Sorry I'm late,
buddy?
man. Hey there. Good to see you there, my friends.
You're just in time. Actually, we're talking about Batman.
Oh, excellent.
And Batman.
I don't know anything about comics, but I'll fake it.
You are
get out
so
of here.
full of shit.
We were just talking about whether to be excited or not, and if so, and if not, what and why about this new movie coming out.
Well, you have to count me on the side of the not very excited at all. Sparkly Bat Boy, everything about it looks horrible to me personally. But remember, I'm old. I'm that old. The codger sitting on the porch saying, "Get off my lawn, you damn kids."
Get off my comic book lawn.
That's me. I admit it. And
get off my comic book lawn.
Well, we have one of those kids that you're yelling at to get off your lawn, and that is Nick Weiser. How you doing?
Hey,
Nick.
Hey,
Nick,
what's up,
buddy?
guys? Globby, what's up, man? So, hey,
bro.
Tom, sorry I'm late. I've had an episode, but it's
no, man. That's no big deal, man.
But all good. But glad to be here. It seems like I came at a good time since we got Globby involved, and it's nice to see Jerry as well. I haven't seen Jerry.
Well, you guys are right here because me and Jerry, me and Gary. See, now you got me calling him Jerry.
You have to drink now, Nick. That's a drinking game if you call me Jerry.
So let's start with Clobby since he came across the line first. Clobby, could you tell us with your absolutely total brutal raw honesty, why are you not excited about what you've seen in the initial trailers?
Number one, basically based upon what a trailer is supposed to be, the aesthetic that drags you in, and none of the aesthetic appeals to me. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm tired of the overly over the top, horrible, ridiculously dark Batman. Starting off at year one again with a kid Batman doesn't interest me. I don't like the casting. Look how horrible the villains look, especially Riddler. Catwoman looks terrible. They all look awful. It just looks like a big downer. And Batman, can be a darker film and a darker character for sure, but never a complete and utter, just ugly, repugnant downer, which they seem to tend to like to do with some of the live action films. And as a Batman purist, I want my Batman the way I want him. I admit it. This way I'm with about all of my comic properties, and I'm not that big on many of the live action interpretations, to be honest. And this one looks as completely unappealing. And why start again at square one? When are we going to start out with a seasoned veteran Batman with just a Batman story?
Well, that's the problem. We've all talked about it ad nauseum. It's like, why do we keep doing origin stories? Get away from the origin story. Just tell the story about the story.
Well, to be fair, this is not supposed to be an origin story. This is supposed to be year two, but I'm with Clobby. Like when I see the trailers, I see a lot of Nolan Batman. I see a lot of year one stuff.
Exactly. Treading over his territory we've gone over.
Exactly. And we're going to get into the story here because according to these headlines, it may not be territory we've seen before. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But Nick, before we do, what's your initial kind of just overall going into, because the movie's a month away.
Yeah. Time flew, man.
And I'll be honest with you, I just looked up because there's an early preview screening in certain areas, and I'm thinking about going just to check it out. And it's not sold out yet, but it's
I think people will show up at the last minute. I also, to be fair, I think it's going to do a good first weekend because, one, normies know the Batman name, so whether we like or don't like Batman is neither here nor there. It's the fact that people see Batman. They just see, hey, it's Batman. Here's a new movie. So they're just going to be attracted to that right off the bat. Doesn't matter if it's attached to continuity or not. They just see Batman on screen. That's all they really care about. And most normies know Batman. That's just like a default character. You ask any normie, like, who name a superhero, at least 6-7 times out of 10 they're gonna say Batman. So I'm betting at the very least is gonna do at least 140-150 million opening weekend stateside. Now, will it hold legs is gonna be the real story.
Right.
Personally, on my end, like I actually do like Pattinson as an actor. Like I love The Lighthouse. I love it. But however, I don't know if he's gonna be the right fit for Batman. And also I'm still very concerned about how much they're promoting Catwoman with this movie as much. And Claudia and I, we've had this discussion, especially there was not too long ago, there's an animated movie made on The Long Halloween, and which is obviously a legendary comic book art, which I'm sure most of you on the panel know about. And they broke it up into 2 animated movies, and they changed some of the material, especially on the later half, to make it that Batman's only getting stuff done with Catwoman, or he can't do it without Catwoman.
Yeah, totally Catwoman.
I didn't like him.
Yeah, second half was basically Catwoman, The Long Halloween.
Yeah, they're changing the comic material to suit Catwoman, and since me and Claudia got a dose of that, Gotham by Gaslight too. Now that we're seeing that, it's just like it's giving guys like us who have seen those animated movies, and then of course you add in the whole 2022 checkbox mentality. You put those 2 preconceived notions together, and you're starting to see with the promotion of this movie and Catwoman this, and look, there's Batman. There's Catwoman.
This is actually supposed to be inspired by because it's supposed to be heavily inspired by The Long Halloween. So I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it's a Catwoman version of The Long Halloween.
The Long Halloween was not good. I did not like it at all. I didn't like the changes they made in it because I liked the comic,
especially part 2.
Especially, I didn't mind part 1.
Part 1 had a lot of good stuff in it. Had some bad stuff,
but once you do part 2,
it's
part of the same thing. So you kind of have to shit on the first.
You're right.
No, you're right. You're ultimately right.
Yeah.
And that's my problem. Is it's like I liked Star Wars: The Force Awakens by itself, but I knew that this movie was going to suck if the next film following it didn't pick up the pieces correctly. And it didn't. So it ruined Force Awakens. So Force Awakens sucks.
Jar Jar Abrams ruined Force Awakens, but I disagree with you there. He was a horrible movie anyway, but you're not alone. A lot of people did have that reaction, but
I was bored at the end of that. Anyway,
I was angry they killed Han.
Back to Batman.
I get that because I'm like Gary on that sense that
How many times does he need to be born again? How many times does Batman need to be born again? Like, we're in an age where we skip the line of 60, 70, 80 years of continuity so we can get to characters like Naomi. But yet here we are, we're dismissing the fact that we've had Dick Grayson in the comic books being Nightwing for 30 freaking years or more, and yet we're pretending like that's and no, Titan show doesn't count because that shit is just absolutely
Robin's
awful
only been in 2
garbage.
Batman movies.
And so I have problems with the 1989 film. It technically did follow what we're talking about. It was not an origin story. It just had the origin within it.
Yes,
because
he knew that. But
we need another origin story of Batman because we have to solve the age-old, most important question about the origin story, which
you need to change your name, Mike. You need to be Mexican Batman now.
Okay, I
already am. I have a shirt. Tom bought me a shirt to be Mexican Batman.
I'm gonna have it be a hot take.
But how many pearls were on the pearl necklace? So we have to have another origin story.
No, Mike, you're right. When I saw Joker in the theater, the first thing that ran through my mind was, here we fucking go again. And I know some of you guys may like it, and that's great. But when I saw that scene, I was frustrated. I'm like, here we go again.
No, I'm with you on that one, Nick, because that was one of my points of contention. I'm like, if they not only show that again and imply in some way that the Joker had anything to do with it, it's going to piss me off.
I hate that.
And that's one of the few points where I have a problem with that movie. But anyhow, I'm going to get into this article here. So we're going to see what's actually different about the opening. And then Claudia, I think you had something to say too as well. I don't know if you got to finish your point.
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm just saying that, like bolstering everyone else. It's it looks like a lot similar to Long Halloween, and that animated film was not good.
No, and I think I'm kind of with Nick here. Like that was almost like a litmus test for what we're going to get here. Yeah. I'm going to read these super chats, and then we're going to get to the story. Mecha J was generous enough to send us $5 and point out, which is true, they still have not found a host for the Oscars, but the nominations are already out.
Ricky Gervais.
I wish.
I wish. They're too scared of him.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you one better. Get Joe Rogan to do it.
Also too scared of him.
I like that.
Or even better yet, Dave Chappelle. Hillis Mallory says, Mike, you ever read the Guy Gardner series with Warriors storyline?
No, but I'll bet Clobby has.
I bet the Bo Smith one, probably the series there, and with the Mitch Bird and stuff. I read a little bit of it. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not a big guy.
There are two mics here, so you and me, Mike. So I don't know which one.
Oh,
that's right.
That's right.
Bobby, you should have said all that and then said no, never heard of it.
Oh, I mean, no, never heard of it, but I have heard of it. So I'd be lying.
I didn't even think of the two mics. Yeah.
Bo Smith wrote that one, if I remember right, and yeah, it was. I don't know. I'm not a big Guy Gardner guy. I'm sorry. I mean, he's okay. I like him, but he was pretty popular for a while back there, late 80s, early 90s, wasn't he?
But he sucks compared to the true Green Lantern, which is...
Well, Hal.
Hal Jordan.
Thank you. Hal Jordan.
Yes. Hal always.
He was always my Green Lantern. Just like
greatest one in the universe.
So nice to be surrounded with true men of intellect and vision and leadership.
It's just like number 4 was my doctor.
Hell yeah.
Nick Weiser, who is your favorite Green Lantern?
Oh, Lord.
Hal Jordan.
Oh God, the brilliance on this battle tonight.
Nick's a real man.
Weiser, are you being serious or are you
I'm not joking, dude. Like
Hal Jordan,
he's the evil Knievel of DC Comics. He's that guy who he lives life on the edge. He's high style and high profile, like Ric Flair. He's confident and he's got the suave. He could get the girl, and he just wants to do all this crazy stuff. He drives his boss crazy, but at the end,
you don't know what's going to happen. Somehow the job's going to get done, but
despite how stressful he makes things, he still gets the job done. He's the guy who stresses the boss. I was like, oh God, I'll do it now.
Versus Jon Stewart is like, yeah, guys, what do you guys need me to do next? I will go and implement and execute that directive. I shall move forward and I shall execute that directive. Hey, guys, I just executed the directive. F. Jon Stewart.
Oh, wow.
Most boring Green Lantern in history.
I don't even feel that strong against
F
him.
that guy. God. Hi.
Wow.
Hi, I have this power ring and I'm just waiting for orders on how I should use it.
And next on Hot Takes.
Oh, sorry. Okay, back to Robert Pattinson's story. I'll shut up now.
I'm going to read this story, though. Robert Pattinson's guarantees comic book movie fans will know Matt Reeves' The Batman is unlike any other Batman movie ever made as soon as they see the opening shot. Reeves' nearly 3-hour Caped Crusader epic is inspired by new Hollywood classics from the 1970s, including Taxi Driver, Joker much, The Conversation,
Taxi Driver,
and Chinatown.
Oh my
Get it, Jake.
Oh, here we go.
Pattinson told GQ magazine that viewers will feel these inspirations from the movie's first frame. I watched the way he's got like a British accent, don't he?
Yes.
I watched a rough cut of the movie myself, and if I shot is so jarring from any other movie that it's kind of like totally different pace. Pattinson says it was that Matt was saying from the first meeting that I was sparkling. I mean,
Sparkle.
Keep going. He didn't say that. He didn't. I won't do a 70s noir detective story like The Conversation. And I kind of assumed that meant the mood board or something, the look of it. But from the first shot, it's, this is actually a detective story.
Oh, yeah.
Pattinson continued, I feel like an idiot.
Pretentious much? Yeah.
That was it. No. I feel like an idiot because I didn't even know that Batman was the world's greatest detective. I hadn't heard that in my life before, but you wait.
Did he really say that?
Rewind.
Are you making that up?
This is in quotations. Pattinson continued.
What?
I feel like an idiot because I didn't even know that Batman was the world's greatest detective.
What?
I hadn't heard that in my life before, but it really plays. Just because there's a lot of stuff where he's in amongst the cops. Normally when you see Batman, he arrives and beats people up. But he's having conversations. And there are emotional scenes between them, which I don't think I've been in any of the other movies, which I clearly didn't watch.
You know who else didn't know that, by the way? if you saw part 1 of the Long Halloween animated, the aforementioned film we were talking about, there's an actual line in there later in the movie where Batman himself says, "When I started all this, I didn't know I'd have to be a detective. That means it was written by morons." Hey, what was the name of the comic he first appeared in 1939? It was called
pick me. I know. Pick me.
What was the name of that comic?
Pick me. Pick me.
It's in the name, DC.
Defective.
Detective Comics.
Hold on, no, wait,
Detective
correction.
Comics.
Detective Comics.
What, number 27. Now, remember, imagine that was a Batman animated film made by morons that put a line like that in it. So I guess it's not a wonder where we are now. But the guy playing him doesn't know that.
No, I'm going to say this right now. This is going to be a hot take. Anybody who thought that this guy was going to be a good Batman, I'm sorry. He is fucked. There is no way he understands this role.
Nope. He just said it.
When did this come out? Today?
This is from today, my friend.
Oh God!
I think this article from GQ is a few days old, but yeah.
Oh my God!
You know what? This guy, all they needed to do is pay Clobby $100 an hour consulting fee, and he could teach this guy how to do Batman.
Yeah, I'd have done it for a bag of M&Ms.
No, you would have done it for
or maybe 2 bags.
2 bags.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, and then the rest of it, he goes on and whines about shooting the Batman with the coof, and of course breaking his wrist in the process. I don't know how he did that.
Oh, say that in his accent.
Oh,
breaking the wrist.
Read
that paragraph.
Okay, shooting the Batman resulted in Pattinson breaking his wrist and getting COVID. So it was the Batman's fault he got COVID. I thought he was the one that brought it to the set. That was weird.
Did he fall off his stuntman?
Oh, maybe. The actor told GQ that by the end of the shoot last year, he was really, really, really dead. I just looked at a photo of myself from April and I looked green. Pattinson is joined in the Batman by his
Oh wow.
Oh man. I'm gonna laugh so hard if this ends up being a train wreck. I'll just say that now. Like if this I've gotten to a point with these things where I'm just so much more apathetic. It's just like, all right, you know what, fine, do your worst. I want to see this thing. I want to see a collision course of things.
Oh, believe
I'm not
me,
even like,
Pattinson
oh no.
clearly did his worst.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know what's terrifying is even like not just that, but I think I walked into Clobby mentioning, and I have to like second it and bounce off it. Riddler looks so bad. There's this legendary
really
goth bar in Chicago. It's a historical goth bar called The Exit. It's where like all the industrial, the goths and the rave and the bondage type people go. He looks like he came straight out of bondage night in that outfit.
He does. God.
And I guess I sound like a stone beetle, but isn't that what he probably sounds like himself? I'm imagining. Darius pulls out some popcorn for the show. Thank you so much. And I mean, 6, yeah, he could be amazing, but like Bryant just asked, like, I don't know how seriously he's taking this. His shot was this. This is it. I mean, as many other movies as he's made, like The Lighthouse and all that other stuff, the general audience hasn't seen that stuff. I've said this a million times, and I'll continue to say this. This was his one shot of getting out from under the sparkly image of Twilight. And if this movie doesn't bank for him, he's going to be making, he's just going to be happy. I guess he's going to be happy making his little low budget movies. I just don't think he sees how big of a deal this is for him. I don't know if he's got a shitty agent or if he's just that aloof. I mean, I can't imagine he's dumb.
I don't think he's dumb.
He might be. It could be a situation like, hey, you're going to play the Batman.
Wow,
this is just a vanity project for him. This is just a vanity project.
Cool.
Hold on.
So many other guys have gotten
to work out.
Some other guys have gotten to do Batman.
Well, and he tried backtracking on that, but then again, he still actually admitted to not working out at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did after the fact, but that's kind of what his little whole thing was about. Is like, oh, I was kidding, but really, I wasn't working out heavily.
I was joking, but I wasn't.
But I wasn't. You know, when a bloke jokes, but then they're not really joking, but they're really joking that they're joking. That's what I was doing. Yeah.
But so the Riddler outfit. So I have a question. How come the Riddler looks like a homeless dude?
doesn't he?
You call it a
Your guess
homeless
is as good as
outfit?
mine because I'm sorry. When I think of the Riddler, I think of style. I think of panache.
Yeah.
I think of a guy who is so much smarter than every other motherfucker in the room. But the one thing he has is his ego gets in the fucking way, and it always brings his
he's
ass
self-defeating. He's a self-defeating villain because he likes to have that song and dance the way he does. Joker likes to have. He likes to have that song and dance so he keeps the fight going. And he and the thing is, to write Riddler, you have to have a good writer because you actually have to come up with creative riddles, and that's not just a character that anyone can touch. Because even if you look at like all the legendary Batman comic book arcs, you don't see many of them listed with the Riddler because once again, that's a character you get writers to be clever with. So Joker, they're like, oh, he's just anarchy, so I'll just go with Joker because he's safer and easier. So
no, and I love the Riddler. He's actually my second favorite Batman villain. And he's very underused. I agree, Nick. Like,
well, he wasn't a major character until the Batman TV series.
I know. Well, yeah. When we think of him, we think of Frank Gorshin, and of course, Jim Carrey's version was just Frank Gorshin on crack. But I still have a place in my heart for that version because at least Jim still got it, even though he was just basically mimicking Frank Gorshin. But that's because that's the version that we associate the most.
Oh yeah.
There was a line in Batman Hush that I liked that they threw in there that I don't think was in the comic, where he referred to the Riddler as a third-rate criminal. And because he wasn't a very well-known character until Batman 66. And it was a
that would just piss the Riddler off to know it.
Oh yeah, it did in the scene. Did you see the movie Hush?
No, I haven't yet.
No.
I've heard mixed about it that I haven't.
I have mixed feelings about it, so I'm not surprised.
They don't. It's I wish I could take back that I ever saw it.
Yeah, because it's I love the animation. I didn't like the character faces. I don't like the style they used on it.
Yeah.
And
I never liked the comic.
But I did like that line.
We do owe a minimum effort puppy here to Chris Frost. Chris Foster. I'm sorry, Chris Foster.
Chris Foster is now a minimum effort puppy level.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Member.
And then Goddess of Wind sent in her member chat. Thank you so much. Tom missed my super chat about the Eternals. Can you bring it back up, please? You said something earlier here in the chat about the Eternals.
She had a super chat earlier about the Eternals. She says,
I'm sorry about that.
But I'm not logged into the main thing, so you got to check.
Yeah, that's why, because you didn't alert me to it.
Hey, hashtag I'm not doing good because Mexican.
You're all right.
No,
you're all right. Goddess of Whim sent in $5. I'm so sorry I missed this, Goddess. You know what else got snubbed? Eternals at the Razzie Awards. Oh, did the Razzie Awards come out?
Yeah.
Let's get to those.
How could
here
they
in a minute.
not have
those? You got the Razzies? You want me to send you a link?
How could they not
Please
have the
bring it.
Eternals sweep that sucker?
I know, right? Thank you for that. I didn't know usually the Razzies. I thought those didn't come out until just before the Oscars happened.
Here they come. Hold on, sending you the
They're
link.
actually doing it at the same time.
This is one of those rare opportunities, guys, where I hope Eternals wins all the awards for the Razzies. Like,
I hope snubbed.
I hope they get like a grand. Oh, they got snubbed, dude. Come
That's
on.
what Goddess of Whim just said. Yeah.
That's a missed
It's
opportunity.
a wonderful film, then.
I guess it's a triumph. Sorry, guys. No, it's different.
Triumph.
It's different. No, it's different.
Oh,
It's
how
different.
triumphant
It was Feng Shui and the furniture of the 10 bracelet, where it was about
that was
the triumph. This one was different. It was different.
Okay, it was different. Yeah.
Oh shit, Mikey, you want to take us through the nominations, or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Please do. I got it up on screen, but go ahead on your end.
Let's see. Worst picture, we have Diana the musical, Netflix version, Infinite, Karen the movie, Space Jam, A New Legacy.
I'm rooting for Space Jam.
Isn't that that's the LeBron one, right?
Yeah.
God,
that's what I said. I said hands down of all movies I've ever seen. That's not even a fucking movie.
Oh, I almost forgot I watched that. I think I watched that remotely with my kid.
I mean, I honestly, I'd say it's even probably worse than Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, dude,
I'm serious. It is
awful.
Bad.
It's like LeBron James acting like, hey.
It's 2 hours of LeBron James calling himself King James.
Hey, King James thinks we ought to go across the court. Hey, King James thinks that we ought to have a meeting. Hey, guys, King James says we should go that way.
Yeah, the whole movie's like,
Isn't it? It's
yeah,
like
what's
that.
this, Doc? Oh, $1 million check to say that LeBron James is the best? All right.
Wow.
I
And-
have bigger standards than that. I want $1.2 million.
I'm glad they included
happy.
And if-
happy.
It's nice to know I'm not the only person that hated that movie.
And in the worst actor and actress category, Tom, if you want to scroll down, we have
Please.
from the movie Well, I can't scroll. You have to do it for me. So Dangerous, Scott Eastwood. We have Roe Hartranft as Prince Charles in Diana the Musical, which I also heard sucked. LeBron James is nominated for worst actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben Platt for Dear Evan Hansen, and for the movie Infinite, Mark Wahlberg. Worst actress from the movie The Woman in the Window, Amy Adams.
Ooh.
Wow, that's kind of shocking. I actually like what she does. Diana the Musical with Gianna DeWall. For the movie Karen, Miss Taryn Manning. From the movie Vanquish, Ruby Rose, our favorite first.
Yeah, Ruby.
Ruby.
And
Ruby. I haven't seen
did I get? Oh, and from Midnight in the Switchgrass, Megan Fox. Wait, she's too smoking hot to be a bad actress.
Take your love down.
I didn't see
Oh, then we got worst performance by Bruce Willis.
Worst performance by Bruce Willis. Oh my God, he's got that many movies. Holy shit.
He's got his own category now.
Oh my goodness, he really do that many movies?
Great.
No, seriously, we could probably get Bruce Willis for Mead, man. He's like, what am I supposed to do here? Okay. Hey, kids, welcome to Mead. I'm John McClane. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Where's my $1,500?
I don't know if I've ever heard of any of these movies.
We could probably get him on here for like $2,000 easy.
Was that Nick laughing that hard?
Yeah, Nick lost it.
Here, I'm gonna cue up Tom. Tom, you're gonna be Bruce Willis, okay? Bruce, in this scene, we need you to be yourself, and we need you to take that train out.
All right, I'm going to my trailer.
Bruce, quick! Bruce, quick! The building's on fire. We
Call
need to find
firemen.
Bruce, quick! She's dying, and she needs CPR.
Is she still half-ass alive to where I could nail her?
Bruce, the clock is ticking. We only have 10 seconds to get in the building.
Then get the fuck out. I'll be in my trailer.
Let me see.
No,
that's 8 movies.
We also have
8
somebody else
movies.
joining us. Paulie, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Paulie.
Hola.
Hola, mi amigo. How are you?
What's up, bud?
I'm good. I've been busy,
Or should I say mi
and
familia?
happy to be here.
We're always glad to have you. And we were talking a little bit heated earlier about the Ricardos, but now we're getting into the Razzies, so we're just having fun.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Well,
and
I'll
as we just noticed, Bruce Willis has his own category now.
oh God, what's it called?
The worst performance by Bruce Willis in a movie.
He did 8 movies. Come on.
Just list a bunch of movies.
You know what's funny is you look at those names and you couldn't tell by each one what one was from the other. You got they're such generic fucking names.
Wait,
got American Siege, Apex, Cosmic Sin.
Yeah, I got talked into seeing Cosmic Sin and
Fortress,
really bad.
Midnight in the Switchgrass. Now that's probably the most unique one there. Midnight in the Switchgrass. Okay, Out of Death. That sounds like a Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah,
It does. It does.
Survive the game.
And you got Survive the Game, which I think has been a title of a movie about a dozen movies.
How many things are named Fortress?
That's the other one too. You're right.
In 2022, you can't think, oh man, there's at least 800 bands, there's 800 movies, there's 800 types of things with the word Fortress in it.
Yeah.
How?
So anyway, this is hilarious stuff. Here.
You know what? I've seen half of these movies too.
I know that's the sad part.
Wow.
Then we got here's a good one: worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. Karen, Space Jam, Tom and Jerry, Twist, and they did a rap version of Oliver Twist. I got to see that.
Wow. I would have thought there would have been more remakes.
These movies are good for us to do watch parties with.
Fun shit with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, so speaking of good movies though, Paulie, you were enamored, I guess is the word I could use, or would you use a different word with the Ricardos earlier this year? Like you loved the hell out of it, or late last year, I should say, it came out.
Yeah. We at the Slant, we've been covering it since they about a year ago released the casting, and even when they released the casting, like people in the Latino Hollywood community like were just like, why is Javier Desi? So I was like, this is interesting. Let me follow it, and we've been following it. It gets the most views, like as far as a one topic, it has gotten the most views this past year. All together. I mean, this one video we did for our little channel, it was like thousands of views. So there's, so besides all the cultural implications, then there's, the actual movie. Was it good? How was it executed? Because you're dealing with such an amazing, iconic, not one, but two television characters. You had Lucille Ball, and then you had everyone's gateway Latino, which was Ricky Ricardo. I mean, you'd be hard pressed. Who was your first Latino? Did you ever find? Oh,
I have to say, hands down, it was Ricky. You want to know why?
Oh yeah,
because I had to sit through I Love Lucy to get to He-Man when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I'm like, I got to sit through this shit, but I did like the song.
Well,
so I ended up falling in love with I Love Lucy. The day I think I finally started paying attention to Lucy, though, was the Superman episode.
Oh, I have a great photo. I actually saved a photo of that for Klobby. I have a great photo of them too on the like outside of the building ledge.
On the ledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man. But
nice.
They call me Superman.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. George Reeves was pretty upset that they credited him at the end of the episode as Superman, not as George Reeves.
Honestly, I thought it would be the opposite, because wasn't he really like big into having the whole like mythos around the character?
He hated it.
No,
it was the other way around.
He's very depressed.
Oh, yeah, he hated typecasting.
Well, I know that part of it, but I mean, I thought with the kids aspect of it, though, he was really kind of.
Well, hold on. First, let me check. Let me check his age, because according to Gary, everyone's younger or older. Let me get my facts right.
Yeah, because he was born in 17. It was 1950.
Yeah, you were born in 17, buddy.
Well, let's be real. Both of these actors are quite. Well, fuck. What's her face is how old now?
Me. Fuck you.
Hey, yo, how you doing, Nick? Hey, Nick,
I'll give her credit.
How's that cup of coffee there, Nick? How you doing with that cup of coffee? Looks
it's so good. It's got some Krigler Coffee blend mixed with your mug. It's a good mixture.
Hey, yo, you need to spotlight that mug right there, Tommy. And he's got a sensational coffee cup, if I do say so myself. Nick Weiser with a Latino slant here, coffee cup. Anyway, sorry about that.
So you got the name personalized.
Hey,
look at that.
Wait a minute. Why the hell is his cup personalized and mine wasn't?
Because
what the hell? How the hell did he get wait a minute, I'm the producer of that channel. How in the hell did Nick Weiser
back then I was giving out cups with people's names on them, so there you go.
What?
Yeah, I got one.
Then.
Yeah.
Racism. How come the white guy got a personalized cup? Paulie has internalized his racism because the Mexican did not get a personalized coffee mug.
I can't wait to clip this, because I need to talk about the internal racism of the Academy and in Hollywood in general, because I am
that actually brings up my next point I was going to ask you, Paulie.
But really fast about being the Ricardos, it's an incredible film that, when you think about it, it does the impossible. It may, at least for me, it made me forget that those two actors were actors, and that they were playing these people that
you do get lost.
Yeah. And you talk about another snub, Aaron Sorkin again gets snubbed for his no screenplay. I mean, that story itself, you gotta understand, there's three things that happened during that span of a week, which really in reality happened over about 5-6 years. Lucy being called out as a red, her being pregnant and telling the CBS, and then of course Ricky's infidelity. He put that all in 1 week. That was awesome.
Oh, it was amazing.
That's the situation of the movie, and I think everyone will enjoy it. Hit me back up. Let me know what you guys thought of the film.
Well, and I got another question for you, Paulie, because In the Heights got completely fucking snubbed.
Yep.
But for some fucking reason,
what's the question?
Well, how do you feel about it? And not
I'm
only that,
pissed.
how do you feel that that West Side Story did get some nominations?
All right, single me out. Put
All
me
right,
up. I'm
man.
big.
I want to hear you because I know this is something you've been passionate about, man.
Hey, Paulie here with Midnight's Edge, Latino Slant, and my good friends on the panel and everyone in the chat. When I have documented on both channels the systematic historical racism of Hollywood's practices when it comes to minorities since the 20s and coming on up, you know that I take it seriously. And there have been pioneers of actors who, from Pepe Serna to Trinidad Silva, the movies like Colors and La Bamba, who have paved the way for these other actors to come on up. So to me, when I see something that has happened this past year where there was a backdoor conversation, backroom conversation, or agreement, let's stifle, let's put Lin-Manuel Miranda out, and we're going to vault West Side Story, because at this time Lynn's work doesn't meet our politics. This old fossil of a movie called West Side Story is our politics. In fact, we're going to right the wrongs with West Side Story. Ooh. We're going to right the wrongs of Latinx. We're going to right the wrongs of Afro Latinos. We're going to right the wrongs so much we won't even put subtitles. You're going to have to learn Spanish because we don't want to other another language. Steven Spielberg, for as great as you are in helping out my childhood and in being a single kid, you are misguided, my friend. And so is your screenwriter. Mm-hmm. And it just shows in this movie, which I did love, but equally had a lot of problems with. Mm-hmm. Now, if you really wanted to right the wrongs, you would step aside and let In the Heights have its time in the spotlight. But you know what, Polly? Who cares, right? We got nominations. We're in. The gatekeepers are the gatekeepers, man. They even said, well, we have our Afro-Latina. In the Heights did not. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't some effort to thwart day one publicity, publications, all that press day where they went after the director Lin-Manuel and saying, how come you don't have Afro-Latinos in your
Oh
movie?
my God, that's right? Insane. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not, Nick. I'm not.
I know you're not. It's just this is baffling. I'm sorry to hear this.
No, it's okay. So when that happened, I told Tom, I told Mexican Airman, I told Cameron Pasha, there's some shit going on. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. And this state is called the Republic of Hollywood. And as much as I love my fellow actors and filmmakers who I have camaraderie with through my other half, this has nothing to do with them. To me, this is the same thing as giving that one line to that one Latino actor back in the 40s. You say this line, "Si, senor, John Wayne went that way, but give me an accent." This is the same. This is worse. This is disgusting. This is horrible, because here is a man, right? Because we're all about merit, right? We want merit. It's about the story. Not one, not two. He gave you guys 3 incredible films this year. In the Heights, Encanto, Tick, Tick, Boom, Lin-Manuel Miranda, right? No recognition at all. He doesn't really need it. He's his own man. He does his own thing.
I think he did get one nomination, but yeah.
He got a song. Yeah, you're right. He got a song. And if he gets that win, he gets the EGOT. Good for him. But he doesn't, the Tick, Tick, Boom is a slap in the face. That's snub of all snubs, right? Mm-hmm. Dennis, snub of all snubs. And I said it earlier in a video, but this is such a gross virtue signal of virtues, and I it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And we'll keep talking about it. I want to hear we're going to get some other reviewers, some other, I have Latinx people coming to me saying, "Paulie, I agree with you. What happened?" It's what has always happened when it comes to the Academy. you know, is that they're prehistoric. They're the fossil that they would think that West Side Story would be relevant, would right any wrong. Stop educating me. Stop telling me. Let me enjoy. Let me love and let me adore. But don't tell me how to be. Right? That's why you have such a backlash with that X. So, you know, I saw these and you know, there are a couple of nominations which I think is wonderful, but on a whole, after just this one man alone, and there's other great performances as well this year. But let's talk about Lin. Just him alone, it's you know. And why does it matter, right, Paulie? Why is it? It's the Academy, it's Hollywood. You know, why do we need to be validated? You know, if not for anything, it shows us that we're full-bodied, talented people, just like everyone else on the big screen, right?
Well, in a point
we're
that
not
I've made,
just this stereotype that
right.
Spielbergo and other people prompt us up to be. This is the only type that you can be, and it's got to match our politics. All right.
Well, that kind of gets me to the point I was going to make, Paulie, and you're right. You're 100% right, because, you know, you and I have both said it a million times over. The most underrepresented group, as far as, you know, those who consume entertainment, or however you want to put it, is, you know, the Latino group, and they are the most underrepresented. But yet everybody's so worried about representing this group or that group or this group. And it's like, well, what about the most underrepresented group? And then the other side of my point I was going to make was, ironically, I cannot believe that in this era of the things that we have going on right now, Spielberg went through something back in, what was it, 85, 86?
Yeah, with Color Purple.
Color Purple.
Yep.
Where the point was made, why is this white man making one of the most quintessential black stories? It makes no sense. Why wasn't the same points made about Steven this time out when it came to West Side Story? Why weren't the points made that, you know, somebody
because the Latino gatekeepers
Manuel
in Hollywood, because the Latino gatekeepers in Hollywood love him and wouldn't dare speak against it, you know, which is strange that Leguizamo will speak against, you know, fellow Latinos than you know, speak out against Spielberg. You know, sometimes Johnny Legs is on point, but most of the time he's way off. But sometimes he's on point, and that's why I always watch these guys that are just outspoken and and ranting. You know, 9 out of 10. No, that one time you're fucking on point. And you know,
well, let's be real. An EGOT is nothing to sneeze at. There's not many people who have that. And I'm not saying that Manuel has been overlooked in his career, but this whole thing with The Heights and West Side Story, just, it does give me pause. And you're right, Paulie, because we talked about Cameron with this whole thing. And I just don't understand how we got to this point where just because Steven Spielberg is supposedly on the right side of the aisle, now it's okay for him to do this, but it wasn't 35 years ago, right?
Well, and he wasn't really, him and Lucas weren't really darlings either of the Academy.
Never were, no.
They never were. It wasn't. That's why
they were shut out
for a long time.
Well, they're
that was a point I made earlier.
Studio anti-system.
To drop a stat real quick, the Motion Picture Association of America's last report showed that while Hispanics might be 18% of the population, we're 25.6% of frequent moviegoers.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
I'm not, like government quota, your movies have to be 25%.
We know you're not like that.
I don't believe that either. You know, I believe that we're actually already represented. Now, as I say in my channel, when we talk, it's presentation,
better,
right? That West Side Story is a shitty presentation.
Exactly. That's a good point, Paulie.
You know, some great music. I love the music. It was filmed great. It looked great, you know. But I had some major problems with the portrayals of the Latinos. In fact, it's more of a fossil than before. When you think about it, the 61 and the 57. It showed the Maria and Rita Moreno's characters working for a Latina lady who owned a seamstress shop. Here, they all work as janitors at Gimbals. Who made that choice? Who made that change? What the fuck is going on? You know? And listen, if you didn't like In the Heights, that's one thing. You know, I'm not here to argue with you. You know,
it's because they had to make the characters look oppressed, Paulie. That's why.
That's right. You know,
There's
but what I will tell you about In the Heights is that it's a celebration of the American dream about family, right? And whether you liked the music, that's completely different. It's seminal. Before on Broadway, there was nothing like it. Since then, now there's just a whole new generation of those types of musicals. So, but you know, it's not for me to tell you, oh yeah, you know, you got to like it. I'm not saying that.
And a lot of people did like West Side Story too. I'm not going to say they didn't. But overall, I think that the population spoke to in droves when they didn't go see it. Right. I mean, the fact that it is one of the biggest flops of last year.
Yeah, it's not a good film. I prefer the original. By the way, Cosmic Vader made a good statement if you want to show that one.
About the Schindler's List one?
Yeah, he says when a Latino director or filmmaker would remake Schindler's List.
Well, not only that, or like somebody who was German or Jewish or something like that, who actually wanted to give their, you know, correct what Spielberg got wrong. I'd love, you got a good point. It'd be interesting to see somebody say the same thing to Spielberg that he was trying to say about West Side Story. It's like, who are you to actually say that you're going to get it right? Like, how do you know? Also,
too, this property was never a Latino just story. You know, it's two houses, you know, the Montagues and the Capulets. That's what always has been based off of. You can do every iteration, but what it comes down to is two different groups of people that just don't like each other. And that's what's so wonderful about it, right? Is that these two, it's forbidden love and all that good stuff. You know, so, but when you try to take
a time, especially when, you know, race was a heightened thing, and especially mixed couples and things of that sort. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just saying is that, you know, just tell the story. It's already in there. But I said this too to you guys months and months ago. I go, man, West Side Story already has a kind of like a woke storyline. If you really want to be serious about it, it takes very little for them to just.
I hate to say that. I say it's progressive because I hate to use the term woke for anything that was actually pre-woke, because woke is like meaning there's an agenda attached to it. You could have been progressive prior to it, but there's still a heart to it.
But
there's still
a
lesson to be learned. And exactly,
but there was, because it was called a message musical. But back then, a message musical was very different in the 50s, right? You know, it was a message, but there's nothing else like it, which is why it was incredible. Why In the Heights was incredible. But, you know, again, you didn't have to do too much tinkering to get the. In fact, he did really weird tinkering, shit that just didn't make sense.
Well, what they're trying, here's the thing, is they're trying to be clever, but here's you have to be smart doing this. Altman was clever taking MASH and commenting on the Vietnam War. Right? Like that is clever. That is a way of doing things where nobody sees it because it's underneath the surface, and he got away with doing that because the studio wasn't paying attention. And nowadays it's no. That's what it's all about. It's like, how can we mix in this? And it's so on the nose. That's the problem. Like, unless I told you that, unless you really were paying attention to MASH, you'd be like, oh, it's just a movie about a couple of doctors in Korean War. No, it's not. It's a comment on the Vietnam War and people being drafted to it. Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very deep kind of
because you came from the greatest generation with World War II, and you went to the Korea, which was a shit show.
But it's not what it's about necessarily. It's the fact that you can watch that movie and it's still an entertaining comedy full of just screwballish characters, right? Like
Altman had two things going for him, because you used one word correctly, which is clever, but he's also really smart. And the clever part is the turn. The smart part is getting away with it. He did it in such a way that they didn't catch it.
Which is funny because you just explained the plot to The Player, which was one of his movies.
Oh, yeah. Real fast. Donnie in the chat, 1957 was the musical debut on Broadway. I don't know if I said 67. That was forgive me, 57. I don't know if I thought I was clear.
I think you said 67, but yeah,
I'm just talking so fast.
Yeah, at least you got it correct.
So that being said,
hablando muy rápido.
Right? Yeah. That being said, right? Then In the Heights had no right being made or aired this year, because there was nothing woke about it. It was just a good old time and nice family messages. Who the freaking talks about family, about bonding, about being there for each other?
I mean, know. I love that stuff when you see that in films. And by the way, I got to say, Keith is in the chat. Hi, Keith.
Oh, hey, Keith. You can
Keith?
send him the link if you want.
I'll see if he wants to join us.
So yeah,
we love Keith.
So that's probably another reason why they buried it, because it didn't feed. It did. They tried to. And well,
that's the funny thing is, even despite them burying it, because you're right, because I went to try and find it on HBO Max, and you had to search the sumbitch out. Yeah. And same thing with like the theaters. There was tons and tons of articles written about how it wasn't making any money, but yet I brought up points about, okay, well then why aren't they comparing it to movies like The Hitman's Bodyguard's Daughter or whatever the fuck that movie was called, The Wife or whatever, where it had 4 big stars in it, made less money, cost twice as much to make, and nobody said there was anything about that being a flop. In fact, there was articles about how successful it was doing, despite the fact that we were in the middle of a COVID. But now compare the box office to In the Heights that was released simultaneously on HBO Max, compared to the movie like West Side Story, which had 100 other things going for it, including directed by Steven Spielberg,
more theaters,
released by Fox, a big huge fucking remake of a classic, all this shit going for it, and it barely managed to muster what, $15 million, I think, overall.
No. I think it made a little bit more than
it didn't do that well
domestically than In the Heights, which is incredible. I mean, I don't think it cleared 60 or 70 million.
I didn't think it did.
Yeah, altogether.
Only done 63.1 million.
Yeah, and I think In the Heights was like worldwide. 45. Yeah. Either way, it was
55 is what In the Heights made. So
55? Wow.
Yeah, so barely not even a $10 million difference.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And listen, you got to like musicals if you're going to see any of these films, first of all.
I'm thinking of the opening weekend. It made only 8 million its opening weekend. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah.
And so that's really it.
Well,
my fight, and I think these men like Miranda, as far as it, like, just he spent years to create these musicals, right? I think that's why I admire this community's passion so much, because they know the creators and where, how long it took them to create this character or that book or this or that. I think that's where my connection, has run with this last couple of years, because, there's stuff I like, there's stuff I don't like, but, everything is about its origins as far as being independently and free thinking minded. It's just, even what you guys were talking about earlier with all those creations of that gentleman that passed away, we don't have people like that anymore.
Oh, you're talking about Douglas Trumbull?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% right.
All the great special effects guys are in their 70s now.
Yeah.
Because we rely so much on digital today, because it's cheaper, it's quicker. Well, some of it is. It's sad.
Yeah,
Keith, he can't make it, by the way. He's got to go to work.
No worries. Well, thanks for listening, Keith. We appreciate you being here, man. But we did get kind of off kilter news. Valiant was here earlier. Too bad. I don't know if he's listening still, but Andre and I dug up that Arrow might be working on Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer for 4K this next year here.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, go on.
We don't know much, but we know we love them.
Yes.
And that may be all we need to know. No, we're hoping that they fix the color timing, of course. Arrow's usually pretty good about doing their best to get all the different versions, so it'll probably have the theatrical and the version we know now, which the theatrical version is just like 5 minutes shorter, I think. And then other than that, we don't know anything else to this point, but I'm sure they'll do their best to get as much of the goodies they can. They did a great job with the other De Laurentiis titles they've had so far, like Dune and Flash Gordon, so I'm sure Arrow's going to do them much justice, and I'm surprised it took them this long. So we'll see. Maybe they'll even work a way to get Red Sonja in there.
That'd be nice. Be very nice.
That was pretty much all I had for that kind of.
To do it right, though.
Back when Arnold played not Conan.
Yes.
Conan, not
I'm
Conan.
not really Conan, but I am. But I'm not Conan.
He's kind of just Conan in anything he does.
I'm going incognito. Doesn't he have a line like that? Like he's undercover or some shit like that?
Not the tumor.
Implying that he's
Shut
Conan,
up! I kill you. Arnold's Pizza Shop.
Dylan, you son of a.
The greatest like hand clap in the world. I can feel like
Yeah, it's
gravity
historic.
fall apart when that shit happens.
And I want to go back to that. When Predator was coming out, our hope was that was a lie, that it was actually what he was supposed to be doing. Sergeant Rock from DC.
Those rumors were around for a while in the 80s.
Yeah, and then when we found out that Predator was actually a sci-fi movie, we're like, oh, because we thought
that was an interesting. Yeah, because my dad got really pissed at that movie.
What?
Predator, yeah, because the way they promoted it, he thought it was going to be another Schwarzenegger movie. He was pissed when it turned out to be like this sci-fi thing. He was mad. He's thinking something
Really?
like Rambo, yeah.
That movie kicked so
I just
much
wanna
ass,
say,
though.
He was so mad at that movie.
Is what he probably
Predator
thought.
is literally one of the greatest cinematic experiences.
I know, I
of my
loved
life.
it, and what's weird though is because my dad normally doesn't get that excited for movies, but this was the first time I seen him come home, and he was like super fucking excited for like. He's like, we can't, because like, okay, short story long for those who don't know. I've told this before, but like when I was a kid, my first how I first watched movies, I didn't know when you go to a rental store and rent a movie, they'd bring it into a case, because where my dad worked, he just brings stacks of tapes home of movies. So I just, I didn't know that's how it all worked. So when he'd bring them home, they were literally still in the plastic, in the covers, all that shit. So like I got to sit there and unwrap them and look at them, and all the covers were right there in my hands the whole time. It was like, and then he'd take them back because they'd usually let the employees rent them out for the first week or so because, they get them a week early. Mm-hmm. So I had no idea at the time as a kid that that's what I was doing. But he'd come home and he's like, this is it. We got it. Predator's here. And he's like talking to my mom. He's like, we should rent a VCR. She's like, why? He's like, because we're going to dub it. I'm going to love it. It's going to be awesome. We're going to dub it. We're going to have it. He's like, why would you do that? It's legal. And she's freaking out and shit. It's like, no, so-and-so does it. I just want to I know we're going to want to watch it again. He just, of all the movies I always got excited about, he never got that excited about any of the shit before. All of a sudden, he was so excited about it. After the movie, he was so pissed. He was like, oh, that was fucking dumb.
Wow.
He never wanted to see Predator 2, and he's not a fan of shit like Aliens.
I don't think I've ever heard of a man like
he hated Gremlins.
Predator.
He doesn't like gory stuff. He hates gory, and I have a reason for that. It's a long, sordid story, but it has to do with he's a Vietnam vet, and there's certain things that he just doesn't.
Oh, you didn't say
like
that.
To deal with. Yeah, so like if it comes to certain things, he's fine with watching shit like Rambo, Chuck Norris type movies, that kind of a thing. But when you start getting into a ground,
did he like Commando?
Yeah, I think that's what he was expecting, is something like Commando. That's what I'm saying is he
Commando's like
he loves those kind of movies.
Oh, let's get some great
once it gets into like the gritty realistic shit like Platoon, we never watched again.
No.
Like we saw it once, and that was a movie he never wanted to see again. Same thing with Apocalypse Now. Growing up was one he never wanted to watch. And I couldn't figure out why. But there's a long. I'm not going to get into it because it's a lot of personal shit. But like, when it came to movies like that, he was never a fan of gory films. Anything like that, and that was what I think turned him off, was as soon as it went from being this mercenaries in the woods doing this shit to this alien chopping these guys up.
Jesus.
Oh no, there's two of me.
Hey Tom, remember when I said?
Oh God, they're these two guys.
I don't know who that other guy is.
Where's Sully? Let him go.
I love freedom.
Tom said I killed you last.
Oh my God, you guys stop that.
That's right, Dutch. You said you killed me last.
Great. I love my nads.
Hey, would you like a lift?
Hey, Bryant Barth there. You've got him on the screen. Tom, John Ford, Stanley Kubrick. You left out another great director from that period that gets forgotten way too often, is William Wyler. He was one of the best directors in Hollywood. He did the Gregory Peck film, The Big Country. He did
I love Big Country.
Ben-Hur.
Oh, okay.
You know, he was really one of the great cinematic directors of that period.
What about Frank Capra? Was that too? That it was. This is after
Frank Capra was he was a good Hollywood director. He was a good work director. And that's nothing. I'm not disrespecting him, but he didn't have the panache of the other directors mentioned.
See, I tend to go towards like
visual directors.
I love Kubrick. Don't get me wrong. Like Kubrick's one of my all times. But Capra, I've been like discovering a lot of his movies, and I'm liking him every time I see him. So like,
yeah, he's a solid director.
And of course Hitchcock. I mean, what can you not say about Hitchcock and Ford? Like, right? Like, I mean, they're both, you know, masters of their craft. One more so in the action Western genre, the other, of course, in suspense. But as far as why do we not have these kind of guys today, I think Gary kind of answered that question without realizing it. The big studio system has changed. They used to encourage guys like this. And now, like, these were the kind of guys like Stanley and Alfred. Like, they were the guys that came to the studio and told them what they were going to make next. It wasn't the other way around, like the studio trying to find the director for the picture.
Yeah, Ilya Kazan was like that too.
And you just don't have those kind of guys. Like, the closest anymore would be like Scorsese.
I say Ilya Kazan. I wonder if you guys even know who that is.
Who did you say?
Oh, yeah. It was
Ilya Kazan.
Oh yeah, I've heard the name. Yeah. But like, you know, like we have Scorsese still, where he's found his way to still do what he wants, and Nolan's probably and Tarantino are the only other two or three that I can think of right now that can really get away with doing that. Even Steven Spielberg doesn't have the sway he used to.
Well, Nolan better watch it because he's been putting out films that flop. So,
well, he's got a cushion right now.
He's done for a while.
No, actually, I'd argue against that, Mike, because he got lucky that shit happened when it did.
That's my point. That going forward, I think him enjoying that wave of success is over. I don't see him.
Oh, that may be true, but I mean, as far as like, he'll get another movie or two before they quit giving him money, because he's still Nolan, and he's got the excuse that the Coof fucked his movie.
Oh yeah. What about his last movie? Sucked. Hashtag sucked. Hashtag.
The studios don't see that shit. That's what I keep trying to tell people. Just like they don't understand. Like, I know we hate J.J. Abrams, we dislike Kurtzman. The studios don't see those guys the way we do, right? Same thing with Kathleen Kennedy. Like, it doesn't really matter, even if it is like one of this like well-known things that she fucked up Star Wars. It doesn't matter. She still walks in the room. She's Kathleen Kennedy, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, she's produced ungodly amount of movies that have made billions of dollars. She's been nominated God knows how many times vicariously and shit like that. So, I mean, she's still got the power. And these are powerful people in Hollywood. I think that's the big thing, Bryant, is you got to get somebody who's a director. Like, Denny is one of those directors who's kind of on his way. And I think him being snubbed by the Oscars is kind of a sign that, yeah, I don't know if it's more so that there was too many white men already nominated, which is a point that's been made by Goddess and a few other people. And it is a valid point, and it's probably true. But at the same time, it might just be because he's seen as a bit pretentious right now, and he hasn't quite gotten himself to that level yet. I mean, I would compare Denny to Kubrick, but no way, shape, or form is he near that level yet.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That Kubrick.
I don't know if anybody agrees or disagrees, but I know one thing that you're doing tonight, Nick. You're talking about a movie over on your channel about football players. Football.
Yes, a very obscure one. Varsity Blues. It's one of the lesser known football flicks. I wouldn't say it's like insanely obscure, but it's definitely one that didn't get as much attention. There's a few of the stereotypical.
I would say it just didn't stick around.
Yeah, it didn't.
It was big when it came out. I remember seeing it in theaters.
Yeah. What it's notable for, though, it was a big like launching pad for some names that would eventually become big, particularly guys like Paul Walker, and they had guys who were bouncing off of that, like James Vanderbeek from Dawson's Creek. And this movie is very toxic. I actually had never seen this one before. This is a Mad Mardigan suggestion, and boy, am I glad he suggested, because this movie, like, this hits all the toxic notes.
Yeah, it's decent. Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while. I have it, but I haven't watched it in a while. So sadly, I don't know if I'll be joining you tonight, but
that's okay.
No, it's a good watch. hopefully you guys enjoyed it and you enjoy the toxicity in it. It's
Right in line
definitely
with Super Bowl week.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Well, I'm actually getting ready to watch a film, American Underdog.
A Kurt Warner film, huh?
Kurt Warner.
Oh, that new one, yeah.
About Kurt Warner.
Let me know how it is.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it tonight before I go to bed. I'll tell you if I liked it or not.
Zachary, what's his face? Shazam was Kurt Warner, yeah.
I was very disappointed with Kevin James' football movie that's on Netflix.
That was based on, he's supposed to be playing Sean Payton. I saw the opening bits of that where they somehow managed to put him, I don't know, like, you know, fake him into the Sean Payton parts of the Super Bowl. You notice that opening bit?
Yeah. It was all weird, and it didn't know if it wanted to be, because it tried to be a comedy at points rather than just being funny. It's okay to be funny. It's if you're going to do a biography, you should avoid being a comedy.
It's alleging to be a true story. We don't know how true it is. I mean, because it took place the year he was suspended for you know, the Bounty Gate thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was weird stuff. Why are you using?
Yeah, I was very disappointed with the film. I didn't think it was very good. So I went back after I watched it and watched Bring on the Boom because I thought that was a fun movie.
Now, great football film is The Best of Times. Robin Williams and Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah.
That was a fun movie.
And of course, the real Longest Yard. That's a great football.
Yeah, the original's a classic.
I like the original Longest Yard. That one's good. I do like that one.
Come on.
I don't know. Yeah,
you don't like the Best of Times? I love that
It's
one.
all right.
It was all right. It actually was pretty bad when it came out.
When I think of football movies, probably my topmost of the popmost would have to be number 1, Longest Yard.
So
number
good.
2 is probably the original. Number 2 would probably be which one?
Waterboy.
No, but that's up there.
Adam Spanberg.
Number 2 is Any Given Sunday, and then
that's a great.
You like Any Given
my
Sunday?
favorite.
You like
Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans is up there. That's probably in the top 5, if not just outside of it. But then I love Necessary Roughness.
Semi-tough.
And then The Replacements is probably one of my.
Rudy. That's a good one.
The Replacements though is awesome. I love The Replacements.
Right. About North Dallas 40. Did you see that one?
It's been so many years, but I do know what you're talking about. That's a good one.
Agreed on Replacements though.
Rudy is good, but I'd have to almost say like Remember the Titans might be a better film than Rudy.
Get out of here.
I don't know. I haven't seen both of them in so many years.
Come on.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Rudy is a tad overrated. It's good, but it's like
what?
It's manipulative as fuck.
What movie's not?
Well, like there's manipulative and then there's manipulative as fuck. And that movie is like almost as bad as the Blind Side or whatever, which is worse.
I hated that movie.
Like that is one of those movies that totally is like, white savior through the whole fucking movie. You're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I love the ones that make up the football team. Like for example, they had the makeup teams for the Replacements.
Yeah.
And they're so silly that you see these like they're the Washington, whatever the hell they were. What were they? The Washington dumbasses or whatever. But all these fake uniforms and stuff. Always kind of
they're like the Titans or something like that. I can't remember, but
I forget exactly what they were, but I always love that because as a fan of formerly a fan of the real NFL, that was always a big thing. NFL history and stuff like that. So they would make up these teams that look with these uniforms and stuff. But that was Replacements.
Here's a good question: would you consider Ace Ventura a football movie?
No. Great movie, but not
Jerry Maguire.
But that is one that needs to be nominated for Toxic Tuesdays. Ace Ventura. Would you really consider Jerry Maguire a football movie though, Paul?
It's definitely a sports film.
It involves football, but doesn't have like a lot.
Hold on. So if we're gonna go with sports movies, then we got to go with the absolutely best movie about the best team in all of sports, and that's the Oakland A's, Moneyball.
Moneyball's good, but if you're talking about best of all time, no. Because you get into best of all time, then you got to sit there and debate like Rocky and Raging Bull.
There's a scene,
dude.
Scene in Moneyball.
Major League, man.
Major League's another one.
That will be a Toxic Tuesday.
That better be, because I'll tell you what, that's when I will be all over the fuck.
No, I will be all over my Major League or Moneyball if you guys.
I'll tell you what, when I went out to the Vegas thing,
aside from
meeting, which was funny because I hardly really gave a shit about hardly any of the main Star Trek people. My big thing was outside of like Clint Howard, I was taken by surprise and damn near fucking freaked the fuck out because fucking Corbin Burnson was fucking there. And he had his fucking, I didn't have enough money to get it, but he had his jersey and I could have had him sign it. I'm like, son of a bitch. But what I did get him do is he had the awesome like 13 by 10 or whatever it is, 13 by 11 photo of him. What's his face besides Charlie Sheen? That was the main guy. Who's the other guy? The catcher. God damn it.
Oh yeah, Tom Berenger. Yeah,
Tom Berenger. Him, Tom Berenger, and Charlie Sheen all in the picture, and he autographed it for me. And they're all in their uniform and shit. I love that picture. And it's like, I was like, at least I got that much. But yeah, like that.
Well, there is a movie that all of you guys have probably never seen, and it was based on the book The Paper Lion.
Yes.
Okay, I know
Alan Alda.
Alan Alda. He played the part of George Plimpton, the guy who wrote the book.
Yes.
And where he tried to be a football player so he could write a book
for the Lions.
And
Plimpton is he's a great writer.
I didn't mind one with Mark Wahlberg that came out a few years back too.
Invincible or no,
that's what it was called.
Was Plimpton he was part of the baseball documentary, right? Didn't he? Then they interview him.
Well, he was a sports journalist, so I'm sure he probably had some involvement.
Like he's in that. Yeah, he's great. I mean,
once you start mixing all kinds of
properly
sports,
spoken man.
I mean, the sports genre is so huge, and
Okay, all right. So where's Jerry Maguire Moneyball fit?
Moneyball is a baseball movie.
It's the greatest film of all time because
Jerry Maguire is a sports flick. I'd say a general sports.
Moneyball is a human story.
A baseball movie is like fucking Major League.
8 Men Out.
8 Men Out.
Yeah.
Oh, 8 Men Out.
That was good.
Pride of the Yankees.
I mean, I guess if you want to bring it, if you want to put it that way, Paulie, I guess.
Yeah.
Heaven Can Wait is a good football movie too.
Field of Dreams. Come on, Field of Dreams.
But he was a boxer in the original Heaven Can Wait.
In the original, yeah.
All right, that's it. I'm going to say what needs to be said. The Sandlot.
Oh, I love The Sandlot.
This is where okay. Well, if we're talking, that's the thing. If you're talking all sports movies where no, you're not putting it in a certain category. But to answer Paulie, I guess Moneyball might fall on that line of it has enough baseball stuff in it that you could call it a baseball movie, but it's dramatic enough and it's more about the characters so much than it is about the sport itself. So maybe you could probably put it in that other category. But see, like Jerry Maguire's one that I don't think the football and the other sports are a big enough part of the movie to consider it a specific sports movie. But you could probably put it in the sports movie category.
Well, and here's another one. Pretty sports connected.
Here's the other one I was going to ask you guys about. The
Last Boy Scout.
I'm like, would you consider that one a football movie?
Nah,
no.
It's an action film.
Action film. Yeah.
It's a straight up action film. Great line though when she says, we didn't mean this to happen. What did you trip and fall into my wife? You tripped, fell, and slipped your dick into my wife. That was it. I love that.
Yeah,
line.
That's one of the best scenes is when he like figures out that his wife's cheating on him because the fucking toilet seat's up.
Love that movie, and it's been on Toxic
easy,
Tuesday.
Gary, easy, Poppy.
Yes,
easy,
that was a great Toxic Tuesday that we did.
Oh, I missed out on that one.
I missed out on all of them. I'm never invited.
You were on Desperado.
Fucking Mexican Inclusion Day.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? I'm always on Midnight Central.
Says the half Puerto Rican. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Paulie, you can come on next week's. I posted in the private chat what next week's is if it interests you.
Tuesday.
Don't do me any favors, homie.
Let's see here. What is it? Oh, I just watched.
I will tell you also, Tom, there is a remake of The Longest Yard that was actually pretty good, but it's not really well known in the U.S.
I know the one you're talking about.
It's called Mean
Soccer
Machine.
Movie. Yeah.
Really?
It's got what's his name? Jason Statham in it as the crazy guy, and Vinnie Jones is the star. And what's funny is he was an actual footballer, and they both play mean fucking football, and it's great fucking film.
You know what? I don't hate Adam's. I know it's kind of going to be sacrilegious. I don't hate Adam Sandler's version of it. I gave him credit because I went in
It was okay. He got.
I was going to hate the movie, and I'm like, I'm going to hate this fucking movie. He's going to fuck it up. They're not going to go with any of the real storyline. The ending's going to be uber happy. There's no way they're killing Chris Rock. All this shit. I'm like, this is going to suck. It's just going to be another Adam Sandler movie. But no, I gave him credit. Walking out of the movie, I'm like, holy shit. he stuck to the fucking story. Sure, there was some Adam Sandler jokes thrown in, but I give him credit. He clearly was a fan of the original, and made sure that it stuck to the same beats at least. Is it anywhere near the original? Oh fuck no.
I mean,
but there's a
lot
worse remakes.
Burt Reynolds. I mean,
oh no, but I like that he had Burt Reynolds playing that part. Right. Here's my thing: is if anything, what's wrong with that movie is Adam Sandler. They should have had somebody else playing the main role. Like I would have had no problems, even I had less problems had it been somebody else in the main character role.
Right. You don't buy him as a pro quarterback. I mean,
no, that's the problem. Exactly. Like he'd be better off as one of the side guys, not the main guy. Yeah. And Waterboy is a decent football movie, but again, not one of my more favorite. Like that was one of the movies that Sandler did where I started to see the cracks start to show. Because it was like 2-3 movies until Little Nicky, and that was like it for me. Like after that, there's like Little Nicky and post Little Nicky.
Let's connect it back to
football.
No. Sports films that kind of transcend.
Air Bud? Was it Air Bud?
Not that type of transcending.
Okay.
The original Space Jam. I love the original Space Jam.
Yeah, well, I was going to say really fast.
Let's let Paulie finish.
Get nominated for awards.
The all-time, that's why I brought up Rocky earlier. Because when I think of sports film, Porky's is great. When I think of sports films, and I think of ones that are not only about the sport themselves, but about the heart and what it is to make a movie and all these things that came together perfectly. I think of Rocky, the first Rocky. Like to me, hands down, is probably the best. If you want to just put all sports movies in the same category, Rocky to me is the quintessential sports film, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
No, I agree.
Biggest,
I think it had the greatest impact on me personally. Of all the films I've seen, that is the one film that hit me because I boxed, and that absolutely changed everything.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's just got the underdog element.
It's got it all.
The Sylvester Stallone.
The only way it could have gotten better is if he had trained in an Oakland A's jersey.
What about you, Paulie? What would you say the best all-time one was? You asked the question. He disappeared.
Yeah, sorry about that. See, I got the brightness on. It's too bright. Bright light.
There you go.
Light.
Mighty Ducks. Yes.
Mighty Ducks. Yes.
Blue Chips is good too, Brian. That's a good one. But what would you say, Paulie?
I got to go with Moneyball
as best of all time. Okay, I can agree.
Paulie, you are a man of incredible intelligence and creative vision and understanding. Because you picked Moneyball.
I can see that. I'm not going to argue with him.
Well, it's an amazing film. I mean, and it's just.
Well, like I said earlier, it has all the elements, right? Just like Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, God, you had to say Rocky. Oh.
I know it's a tough one, ain't it?
Yeah, it's tough
because Rocky's my childhood.
Well, and you got to think about it. Rocky kind of was the
Rocky's a better movie than Moneyball by far.
Well, Rocky was like the blueprint for sports films for the next 30 years. I mean,
it's a better emotional.
Yeah, okay, that's what I meant.
You're more emotionally connected to Rocky for sure.
But
correct. As a film and the writing and then what it's trying to tell, what
the editing is
to tell you about this, about the changing of a sport of baseball. I mean, Moneyball just blew me. It still blows me away because I'm still a baseball.
The great
fan.
thing is because our stadium is so freaking old, like that they can show that film, and I'm like, oh my god, that's where I sat for that one game.
Nothing's changed. Nothing. I've been there.
It's not like watching. It's not like Major League where like that stadium is like looks nothing like what the Cleveland.
Got us a whim. Who does know some sports? I suppose. Do you? No.
Yeah, I think a really good
Moneyball strategy. So it's all crap.
The Natural. The Natural.
Wow,
The Natural's a good one.
It's a great baseball film, and it's evocative. It hits so many points.
Is that a word, evocative?
There's almost magical.
It is now.
To it.
You're making that shit up, Gary. Evocative. I like that.
It's a great word.
Provocative.
Well, it's fantasy.
It's emotionally.
It's also
evocative.
fantasy. It's also fantasy,
emotion.
right?
It evokes emotion. It's evocative.
They use
Angels
a lot of
in the Outfield,
realism.
the original. I love that.
Angels in the Outfield. Yeah.
I'll be remiss if I don't mention Karate Kid, of course. But yeah.
Oh, geez,
all right, Paul. Let Paulie finish his sentence, Gary.
Please.
No. I was just agreeing with Gary. I was agreeing with Gary is that, with with The Natural, they used a lot of kind of theatrical elements, and so yeah, it kind of transcends just being like, hey, I'm the best. The story is also very dark.
Yeah,
it's a great movie.
The mystery, because there's a mystery aspect to it.
Total mystery, elements of magic realism, fantasy.
It's got.
I mean, Rocky had an effect on me, Tom. You're mentioning Rocky. That's probably not the easy choice. It is one of the greatest of all. But that and one that's part of my childhood that I love so much is the Bad News Bears, the real deal.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely a subcategory of where, like, probably Bad News Bears.
Hell yeah,
set it up, but
love
like
that movie.
It came full circle with probably Major League on that respect. Because to me, it always felt like Major League was the grown-up version of Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
Major League is an absolute favorite of mine. I love that movie.
But when we were kids and saw Bad News Bears, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. We were in Little League at the time. My uniform even looked like theirs. And I must have been, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years old about when it came out. And it was
not only that,
huge to us.
Well, and it had a bit of an inspiration on the guys who made South Park too, because like that was one of the first times you ever seen kids actually talk like fucking kids talked.
Yes.
Well, that got me in trouble. That movie.
It got a lot of people because like we're like, no, don't tell our parents we talk like that.
I talked like that in front of my parents when I was playing little
Mom and Dad asked, "Do you kids really talk like that?" No, Mom. Fuck. I mean, no, of course not.
It was, and
I said something about get off your ass. Like I said it to some.
Walter Matthau's terrific in that film.
Oh God, great, Mercedes.
Some great stuff in it.
Oh yeah, Walter Matthau's a classic. And I didn't even, and again, talking about remakes, I didn't totally hate the Billy Bob Thornton one, even though I wanted to.
I can't do it.
I don't like it
the
that much,
one?
But it's all right. It has its moments. Sci-Fi George says best sports film, The Running Man. Well, there's an argument to be made for it.
Oh,
I don't know about best sports film.
It was competitive, and Arnold did have to jump buzzsaw guy named Buzzsaw, and he had to
only
split.
in a rerun.
If it were a real sporty, but you never know.
I think we should. That's more of a sci-fi.
Hey, Killian, here is Sub-Zero.
Oh, I hate that.
Now, Plane Zero, which technically is an upgrade because negative to zero is like.
I remember us having that argument.
You know what film you're not mentioning, Tom Connors Jr.? You're not mentioning the Cool Running Man.
Cool Runnings. That's a great film. God,
that's a great. Love that movie.
What is lack of respect? I got no tree growing out of my face, man.
Sanka, the fastest of Jamaican spring dust. Go to island of Jamaica. Yes.
You dead, man?
Wow. I lived in Jamaica for 2 years and 3 months. It was the best 2 years and 3 months of my entire life.
That movie is complete bullshit, but it's a great movie.
It no matter, man. The island of Jamaica is beautiful, man.
Come back to Jamaica.
John Candy's last
Feel the rhythm
film.
God, I got laid so much. Sorry.
You know, and honestly, that's probably one of his next best performances after Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, if you think about it.
What was that one?
Cool Runnings.
With the little kid with the arm, and then he became a pitcher.
Oh, that's shit.
Wait,
that's from Chicago.
No, because I'm gonna get it mixed up with the other one. There's
two of them.
Yeah, there's the one where the kid gets the twins.
There's one called Little League.
What's the one with
Little Big League? I think is the one you're thinking of.
No, but what? Yeah, but Home Alone guy, Daniel Stern.
I think that's
goofy ass. He's
and,
like
and
the
it
rock.
Also has and it has Gary Busey in it. Gary Busey's in it too.
Yeah. What's the name of that movie?
Is that the Little Big League one? Am I thinking? No, that's Rookie of the Year. You're thinking of Rookie of the Year. Little Big League is the one where the kid gets the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, that one was all right.
Both of them are decent films. Is there another one too?
I saw Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck.
Oh fuck! I love that.
He got traded to Japan.
I didn't. You know what?
A fucking movie.
That is a great movie.
I haven't seen that one.
Man, you got to turn on your MLB network and just let it play. All the good movies.
Oh yeah, Mr. Baseball's great.
How about Mr. 3000? Was that any good?
That one's pretty good.
I loved it.
Bernie Mac as a baseball player.
That was a big deal around here because they shot a lot of that. Because of course it's the Brewers, so they shot a lot of that around Milwaukee and stuff. But Gonzalo Bergali says Stallone, Kane, Pele in 1981. Pele, sorry. In 1981, Escape to Victory. Kevin Costner's For the Love of the Game and Draft Day. Snipes.
Dude, I was going to mention those.
Yeah, I do like For the Love of the Game is an undersung one for sure. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to mention, and I actually
Talent.
saw Victory in the theater.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
I'm gonna bring up one that always gets overlooked. Speaking of Kevin Costner, and is one of my favorites. Fucking Tin Cup.
Love
A
that movie.
little bit is
Even though
better
golf
than
isn't really a
water.
sport, it's a great
Don't
film.
go there, but let's go there.
Oh, okay,
Someone-
if we're gonna go to places,
Caddyshack,
what do we
kids.
consider blood?
Why
sport?
would you? Are you actually think Tin Cups better than Field of Dreams? What are you talking about?
No.
no.
I'm just saying that it's overlooked.
Oh.
Shelton, what's his name?
Honestly,
Rod
though, I
Shelton,
would
the
probably rather
filmmaker?
watch Tin Cup. But, yeah.
Don Shelton or
Well, how
Rod
about
Shelton.
this one,
He
Paul?
made
Ollie.
Bull Durham.
Have you seen
Yeah.
Talent
yeah, I
for the
like
Game
Bull
with
Durham.
Edward James Olmos?
Which one?
Talent for the Game.
I never.
Oh
did see
yeah,
that. Was
years
that
and
any
years
good?
ago. Yeah. Edward
With-
James almost was in it.
Virtual
Yeah.
Suite.
Lorraine
I think-
Bracco.
Well, even not one of
Yes.
the greats.
Ray
Somebody did
Brocco.
mention in the chat one of the greats, Brian's song. The original.
Not only that, basketball. We're
great
forgetting
film.
basketball.
Basketball is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Eh,
I love
like after 10 minutes, it's like
Comedy. Made up.
Basketball? I love basketball. I don't give a shit.
no,
Dude,
Brian's
basketball.
the other one.
Oh, Brian's
Well,
song
Brian's
is
song,
another
that's
one of
a
those.
great movie. Love
It's a
it.
manipulative one, but yes.
Well,
as book. Caddyshack. Caddyshack.
Caddyshack is a fucking
Ollie's Heartless.
masterpiece.
Also,
It is
I
a
love
masterpiece, but it's not a
Caddyshack.
sports movie.
Well, are we really going to argue if whether or not
Yeah.
golf is a sport? I will say it's more of a sport than fucking esports.
Dodgeball is good.
No, but Caddyshack's a comedy.
Dodgeball
No,
is.
it's- I don't
Dude,
care,
that
so
Chuck
is Major
Norris
League
staying
Baseball.
alone.
underdog
No.
story. That's right.
No. Thank you very little.
Fuck
Slobs
Chuck
versus the
Norris.
snobs.
No.
Oh, and none of us have
Dr.
mentioned
Rich
Slapshot either yet.
Hey, you guys, stop talking over each other. You guys are getting tougher for me to manage.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Damn, sorry, man. See,
Yeah, we're getting a little too.
putting down the Mexican.
We're getting
And then deleted
excited.
scenes, aka Steven, on this note sent
Nick
us
Weiser,
a member chat and says, I was an extra in a sports related movie, Quiet Victory, the Charlie Wedemeyer story. It ran in CBS in 1988. You find it on Amazon Prime. My high school was used in the movie. Well, that's cool, Steven. That reminds me that my mom told me that like my second cousin is supposed to be in a scene in that movie about Babe Ruth with John Goodman. And she could never figure it out, but I have it. We bought it for that reason, and she could never find it. So, but supposedly they're in a scene in the movie.
Cool.
That's another one we didn't bring up. Babe, the Babe. What was it called? The Babe, I think it was.
The
That was a
Babe,
pretty
I
decent
think.
one.
That was horrible.
It was called
What?
I didn't like it.
The Babe?
Yeah.
I thought it was all right.
Lame.
The John Goodman one, you mean?
John
Yeah.
Goodman?
I
I'll
thought
take
it was awful.
8 Men Out. 8 Men Out.
Well,
Yeah.
8 Men Out's a totally different kind of movie,
Great
though.
movie.
What do you mean? It's the same era?
I know, but
same-
it's a different kind of story. You're talking about a life story of a guy compared to the story of one of the biggest controversies ever in baseball history.
Yeah.
They could have messed that one up. They messed
Oh,
up Babe Ruth's
absolutely.
story. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
did they? I haven't seen it in years. It's been a while. How bad is it?
I didn't like it.
Well, you were older when it came out, so I'll give you that. I have not. I have it. I
Thought it
just
was
haven't
kinda
watched it in
hokey.
years. It does. I do kind of remember it having a very TV movie of the week feel to it. You're right about that.
Yeah. Oh, what was that other one?
Oh, The
God, you know-
Hustler. Holy shit, sci-fi first.
Damn.
God, yeah. Not only that, The
The Hustler.
Color of Money.
See,
Hustler
now,
was great.
now,
Yeah, that's one of those rare.
Well,
sequels.
now hold on. Now we're leaving sports and going into hobbies.
Well, do you can okay? So
Ooh,
you consider
ouch.
pool playing not a sport now?
No, I don't. I pool, golf, all that shit. That's all.
You consider those hobbies? Okay,
yeah,
all right.
hobbies.
you sound like a homeboy in
Video games. I mean,
He's-
come on. Yeah,
He's
like
Bound
no.
and Down.
Yeah, f that shit.
All
I
right.
love that character.
All of those don't count. No offense. No.
I mean,
offense-
I don't
no
know. I'd
offense to our
argue.
esteemed-
Look,
No
here's
offense
my
to-
thing. If people want to argue that esports are a real thing because of talent, then I say you got at least. Then that opens the door for golf and shit like that. Even pool.
Look,
and
me and
darts.
Gary are probably awesome at Call of Duty, but if you tell us to run up and down and race Paulie up and down 5 flights of stairs,
Wait.
Paulie's gonna whoop our ass. So
I'm not going to argue with that. I think esports is a dumb name for it.
Yep.
Good
I
name.
think
Because
it's
I mean,
be
yeah,
called
you got to have some
It should be- it should be-
hand-eye coordination, but that's not anything to
Armwiser.
do with playing an actual
Well,
fucking
it's a
sport.
skill-based game. Is
No,
what
it
golf
should be a
is.
couch potato Olympic sport.
Gladiator.
I love Gladiator. That's a great. That with Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah,
he's
with
not
Cuba
wrong.
Gooding Jr. That's a sports movie.
Well, that one too, but yeah.
Oh wait, I'm thinking of Russell.
Well, I was
Crowe.
gonna say Gladiator itself.
Yeah,
Those are the original sports, man.
Where they boxed.
I mean, Warrior. That movie Warrior was amazing. When
We're
Nick Nolte
getting
was the
way off
dad.
the point now, though. But yeah.
Tom Hardy and
the whole point is that Nick is watching Varsity Blues tonight.
We're having a conversation, Tom.
Or they're talking about it, but yeah.
What the hell, man?
No, I'm just saying we got way, way far away from where we originally were.
And with that,
that was my Andre voice.
Oh, is that your cue to wrap it up?
And with that, I don't know. I thought that was a good time for me to say that, but I guess not. Okay, go into the back room again. Okay.
I don't believe you.
The wrestler?
Hardball was really good.
Hardball was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
Did we already bring up The Rookie with Quaid?
No,
I don't think we brought it up. That's a good one too. Yeah,
West Texas. That's a true story.
That's funny.
Well, shit, I'm gonna start bringing up random ones.
Kurt Warner one you were talking about, yeah.
Knuckleball.
What the fuck is
That's a documentary. It doesn't really count, but I just.
What's the one that Keanu Reeves did with the kids in the inner city? That was Hardball. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I want to make sure. Yeah,
that's
Rollerball.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, shit,
the
I'll
Mighty
just keep
Ducks
going.
was a huge hit when it came out, but let's be real, the Mighty Ducks was just Disney's
$1 million arm.
Bears, yeah.
Raging Bull. Wow.
Yeah, I brought up Raging Bull earlier.
Movie.
Taxi Driver.
Is that a sports film? Taxi Driver.
Now he's just randomly throwing out movies.
Death Race 2000.
Well, taxi driving could be considered a sport. Well, Death Race 2000 actually does. I'll take that any day.
That's a sport.
I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, it's
Hoosiers,
hilarious.
yeah.
What kind of sport is a blood sport?
Ryan Torres brings up Hoosiers.
Martial arts.
It's Kumite. Kumite.
$1 Million Baby. I didn't really care for $1 Million Baby so much. I liked
drama.
It
was a drama.
It was one of those I was talking about earlier where it's like one of my least favorite Clint Eastwood ones because it's very
Dodgeball
manipulative.
What was that?
Dodgeball says this for $2.
What was that boxing one that oh shit, Mark Wahlberg was in? Come on,
Gary. Oh, that's The Warrior, ain't it?
Oh, was that it? Oh, no, okay, I missed that.
Charlton Heston did a football movie.
Oh, what was that one?
It was called Number One. It took place in the late 60s, early 70s, and he was actually they used pro football footage. It was the New Orleans Saints first started, and they filmed it in New Orleans. And he plays an old aging quarterback. They used Billy Kilmer footage for him, and he has a very sad ending, and it's a very bad movie.
No, I never seen that one. The Fighter. That's the one we were thinking of. Sorry about that. That's the one with Mark Wahlberg.
There you go. See. Thank you, Bush.
Now, The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, was that based on wrestling or? I gotta ask.
Wrestling isn't a sport either.
I didn't care for that movie so much, but it's based on the pro wrestling thing. Yeah,
pro wrestling isn't a sport either.
No,
it's a dramatic exhibition art. That's like
dramatic exhibition art.
Yeah, so that's like when I think of pro wrestling, I think of it. That's in the same category as Riverdance.
You know the Irish dancers ain't getting hurt playing Riverdance, dude.
Well, you know what? Have you seen how high those ladies' legs go? If you're walking behind saying poof, ah, poof, ah.
Did anybody see Chuck?
See
Liev, what is his name? Schreiber.
See what?
Liev Schreiber started in the movie Chuck about Chuck Wepner, the guy who Rock was based on.
But I did see
that movie was all right. No,
it was good. It was a good film.
The other one I'm thinking of, what is it? 61, I think is it called, with the asterisk next to it about the whole.
Billy Crystal directed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember that.
That was an HBO film.
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty decent.
That's pretty decent.
And of course, we got No Holds Barred.
Barry Pepper and Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane, yeah.
Thomas Jane played Mickey Mantle. God, I love Mickey Mantle.
I got to go back and watch that movie. I haven't seen it.
Seriously, Knight's Tale is so fucking. Oh my God, you want to talk about
awesome?
I was so upset by that movie. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I love Knight's Tale.
I know people love it.
Wait.
I love that fucking movie.
I was just like, what?
I love Knight's Tale. I don't know why. It's the campiest.
I can understand why.
You know me, Tom. Like,
it's for all the reasons I hate it.
What?
It's just it just is what it is, you know.
I don't know why I like that movie. I've seen it like 10 times. I love it.
As soon as the audience
Wow.
started doing "We Will Rock You," I was out.
Golden years.
Golden years.
They started dancing to golden years. They're like, aren't you guys like in the
Oh
mid-century?
yeah, We Are Marshall's one we haven't brought up. That one's a bit depressing.
Medieval times.
Like a lot of bit depressing.
We...
Cinderella story.
No.
Wait. Cobra Kai.
Oh, we're forgetting about
Season
Kingpin.
4.
Kingpin is a great sports flick.
Now,
I suppose you're going to say
Wait
that.
a minute. I got one. What was the name of that movie about the 1980 Olympic hockey team?
Oh, that was Miracle.
Miracle, yeah. With
Miracle on Ice.
Miracle.
Just called Miracle.
Whatever.
Kurt Russell.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Disney show Miracle on Ice. Was that which one had the
Wildcats? I remember Wildcats.
Which one had Wile E. Coyote?
Football.
Yeah.
That was a pretty lame movie.
LL Cool J's first movie, I think that was.
Yeah, there was a couple
Oh
people.
shit!
Yeah.
I just remembered that other boxing film, Southpaw.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love Southpaw.
The fighting in that was so
Mighty
good.
Ducks. I mean, there's so many sports movies. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot of
So
Rise
yeah,
of
in
Glory from James Esparza.
In about 25 minutes, Nick is going to be. Nick just gained a bunch of weight.
I love.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
How the hell are you guys
No,
doing
I'm
that? This
impressed.
is what happens when I unlog in.
Moneyball, baby.
No, Brett. Darts is not a sport; it's a game, like pool.
I gotta go feed the kids though.
Does
All right,
arm wrestling
we're gonna-
count as a sport?
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Over the
Ford
top,
versus
over
Ferrari.
the top.
Over the top.
Yeah.
Ford
Lincoln
versus
Hawk,
Ferrari.
man.
Ferrari.
All right, kids, let's wrap this up. I love everybody. I love you guys here on the panel. Check out all their channels. Check out Paulie's channel, Latino Slant. You can catch him on Midnight's Edge Espanol. Check out Nick Weiser, who in about 25 minutes is going to be doing Toxic Tuesday, where he's going to be talking about Varsity Blues. Check out Gary over at the Pop Culture Minefield, where they always have great interviews with all kinds of great people and talk all kinds of stuff. And then you got Klobby, who's always doing something, whether it's talking about Star Trek or comic books or what have you. I love listening to him talk about all the pop culture stuff he does. And of
Teen
course,
Wolf.
Mike, who's everywhere. And Teen Wolf. You forgot about Teen Wolf. Great. sports
Dude,
movie.
hey, I just want to invite all you guys to my 1,000 episode celebration tomorrow. Tom, hope you'll show up.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Yes.
All of you
Please send me
invited?
the link.
Reminds
I
me,
will try to
we
make it.
are 67 away from 3,000 subs.
Oh, awesome. So, guys, do check out both channels.
Check
Of
everyone
course,
out.
check out everybody's channels, but
Wow.
definitely subscribe and get those guys over that threshold. And Todd Vanderseas says, love the game great. The game?
Slapshot, yes.
Game.
Yes.
I did mention
Slapshot, yeah, I
Slapshot, but I
love
got
that.
talked over earlier. I did mention it, but thank you, Hillis.
Paul
Since we're
Newman,
forgetting the best
great
Slapshot.
For love of the game.
I did mention it, but yeah.
I missed
got
you saying
drowned out.
that. We were all, we're all.
Yeah, we're all throwing so many out there.
Sam Raimi.
Yeah. All right, kids. And yes, we're going to do 4K for you tomorrow night, I believe, where we'll probably talk a little bit about. I'm going to see if I can entice Andre on to talk about Conan a little bit. And Valiant, who was here earlier, of course, too. Don't forget to check out Valiant Renegade's channel as well.
Hey, tomorrow I have
Yes.
Cameron and Tom Conkle on.
Oh, nice.
Noon tomorrow.
Love Tom. Yeah.
Finale talk.
All right.
All right.
Finale for
Book of Boba Fett.
Saturday morning, for Saturday morning fun time, we're going to have Andrew P. Anderson, a Japanese American writer friend of mine that does comic books as well as writing novels. He'll be joining Keith and me for the morning.
Cool.
Yes.
Toxic Tuesday.
Toxic Tuesday. I got, obviously we're gonna be talking Varsity Blues, and I got Mickey Mouse is not pleased with Spider-Man No Way Home rant coming up. So you're gonna hear the full Mickey Mouse voice, like the one where he beat up the Jonas Brothers. It's gonna be really good. So brace yourself for that shit. Be ready for that. So be ready for some rants.
I'm gonna eat Nick.
So we should see you all Thursday on Mead. If not, I'll see you in the morning on Midnight's Edge in the morning tomorrow. Until then, kids, take care of yourselves and each other.
Which, of course, in German means a whale's vagina.